everyone, and welcome to the fifth annual Global Leadership Conference. It's such an honor to have each and every one of you here today. Thank you to all of our amazing speakers. Thank you to all of our sponsors, and thank you all for attending the conference. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Now, at this time, I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Steve Kidd. Steve is a #1 international best-selling author, a dynamic force of inspiration, a trailblazer in the world of storytelling. Welcome, Steve.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm so excited to be with you guys today. I want to encourage you more than anything else to take this one thing. You know, they say begin with the end in mind. I'm going to start with my close, and it is this: someone is waiting on you. There's somebody that made a wrong decision today, yesterday, last week, last month, for years because they're waiting for exactly who you are and what you do. And until you share it, it's not going to make the difference that they need in their life. When we are, any of us, and we've all been through trauma, when we're going through trauma, it's the people that are just a couple of steps ahead of us that really help us be able to see the light and have hope and know that it's possible to still make it through. Because without that, without us having other people in our lives, what we end up having happen is we isolate. I'll tell you a story. I was in the chemo room with my mother-in-law, and the whole room is filled with people that are in chemo. And it was interesting because when she would fall asleep, I would go and talk to some of the people, and every one of them, to a person, all had a sense, either that particular day or at some point through the journey, that they were completely alone and that nobody understood what they were going through. Even though they were literally in a room of people that were going through exactly what they were going through, they felt completely isolated and like no one really had ever understood what they were going through. So it's so important for us to understand right up front, someone is waiting on you. Someone will resonate with your message. Even if you feel like everybody has said it all before, someone will resonate with exactly who you are because of the way you say it. I'll give you a perfect example of that. You know what it's like when you tell your kids, those of us that have children, or, mine are grown now, but, they were all little at one point. You know what it's like when you tell them something over and over again, and they just kind of roll their eyes at you like you're crazy. And then one day they come home from school all excited, and they're like, guess what I learned today? And then they tell you that very thing that you've been saying to them for years. And what you really kind of want to go is, duh. Of course we don't. We don't want to, ruin their little spirits. But because that teacher, that person at school, whoever said that thing in just the way that peeked into their little brain, we connect like that person to person. You're going to hear several people here this evening, and there's going to be somebody that's going to have exactly what you're looking for. Now, I'm here today to share with you that bestseller is only the beginning. You need to share who you are. You need to share what you do with the world. Now, I always talk about people writing books and being best-selling authors. And yet, here's the truth. The very thing that you probably should be writing your book about is something that's so easy for you that you didn't even think about ever writing a book on that. In fact, I'm going to encourage each of you as you're listening to close your eyes. I promise I won't make faces at you or anything, but close your eyes. Now, I know there's some people that can't visualize with their eyes closed, so I'm going to ask you to think of things if you can't visualize it. Close your eyes, and I want you to vision somebody that is specifically the person you're meant to serve. That exact wonderful, tender heart. Can you see them? They're on Google right now. They're searching for the thing that you do. Like I said, they do it so easily. You do it so easily, and they struggle with it. It may seem like the most ridiculously simple thing to you, but they're on Google right now searching for that very thing. Tears are streaming down their face, desperate for that solution that you do with grace and ease every single day. Somebody's waiting on you. Do you see that person? Can you feel their heart and their soul and their need? Feel it reaching out to you. Because that is the one. You see, there's millions of people in the world. You can open your eyes now. I mean, you can keep them closed if you just want to listen to me talk. Either way, I'm a radio host, so I'm used to people not, seeing me. There are people that are so desperately looking for that thing, and we need to share it because that person needs you. There are billions of people in the world. There's 8 billion people on the planet now. And that's overwhelming. If we think about writing a book, giving a talk, anything that you can do to reach out to people, even being on social media, and we think about something that's going to reach all 8 million people, that's just overwhelming. You can get locked up in searching the concept or even the thought of trying to do something and carry the weight of 8 billion people on your shoulders. However, when we break it down to just one person, just a single person, who can I help? Who can I serve? And I'm going to make it even easier for you than that. I'm going to break it down to this really wonderful word called today. Yesterday's gone. There are things that each of us have done in our yesterdays where we just totally blew it, where we missed the mark, we didn't show up as the person we wanted to be, whatever that might be. I give you permission to let that go. If there's somebody you need to apologize to, apologize, but then let it go. Yesterday's gone. A minute ago, when I started this talk, is already in the past. Any times that I have, misspoken or said, like I just did, that's recorded now. It is in the past, and that's okay. The past led us to exactly where we are in this moment so that we can show up as the person that we are for that person that we're meant to reach. The future, it's coming, but it's not here yet. And it's not promised for what it's going to be. We all know what it's like to go to bed one night and wake up the next morning and have them tell us, hey, you know what? We just don't want any of you to leave your house. And it felt like they were basically saying, just don't ever leave the home ever again, right? We remember those days. That wasn't that long ago. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, but we know what today is. And we can share who we are. And then we can send it forward into the future today. We can send it from today into the future. And that's where your book comes in. There are so many things that you can capture in your book. Things as simple as, I heard some stories. I was at an event last weekend, and I heard some stories of people that were talking about family members who they wished they had had their stories. And now those people are gone. And they don't have those stories to be able to share. So that, that's those things. There is, as I've been talking about the whole time, that thing that you do with grace and ease that somebody needs, and you need to share that with people. And that's where writing it down. I mean, it's great to do it in talks. I love talking. I always tell people, put a mic in front of me, and I will just share until you tell me to shut up, whether it's 10 minutes like we have here, or you want me to go on for hours. I tend to ramble on, and that's good. But when we put it in written form, when it's written down, a person can go back and reread what we said, understand what we mean, underline it, take notes. It goes before us. It goes out into the world, out into the future. Then we can actually live in the future because we can make an impact into the tomorrows because of that, doing what we can do today. And it all again boils down to that very basic premise. Someone is waiting on you. I hope that each of you, as you listen to every single person that's talking, and as you think about all the things that you do in this world, that you will really embrace that one person, hold them close to you. Doesn't mean that you know them right now, but I want you to really embrace that person and give all of who you are to those people, to that one, so that they can then pass that on. And the ripple effect of that, imagine what the world would be like if all of us just took today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday. If we could just take today, this very moment right here while we're talking, and we could, for this 1 minute, all be the very best we could possibly be right here in this minute. Imagine if all 8 billion people on the planet did that for a minute, how much greater the whole world would be. And now, what if we made that a habit that we did every day? I encourage you, you need to share who you are because you're amazing. You may not have ever had anybody tell you that, but I want you to hear it very clearly. You are incredible, just as you are, just who you are. And the world needs you to share who you are. Write it down. Don't just think it. Don't just speak it. Put it down in writing. Put it out there. If you'd like to talk in more detail about that, that's why I have it up here for you. AskSteveKidd.com. Go straight to my calendar. I'd be glad to talk to you for 15 minutes. We've been a marketing company for 38 years, so anything you want to talk about in marketing, but especially if you want to talk about how to share your message with the world, I would love to meet with you and really talk to you about the kind of things that you can do and share and help the world with. I think if I looked at the clock correctly, that was my 10 minutes. Let me know if I'm off. I can definitely take some questions or anything else.
Absolutely amazing, Steve. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions for Steve? Okay, not at this time, but we will circle back if anyone does have any questions later on. Thank you so much, Steve. Now, our next speaker is Coach Chelsea Denlinger. Coach Chelsea Denlinger, I've had the honor of working with Coach Chelsea Denlinger. She was my personal trainer. And because of Chelsea and my faith, I've been able to run a 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon, and now training for my first triathlon. Thank you so much, Chelsea. And now Chelsea Denlinger, she's a passionate online health coach, personal trainer, and wellness content creator, as well as a live broadcast host on the free app Noom Vibe, dedicated to empowering individuals to achieve lasting results. Chelsea combines her expertise in behavior change with a personalized approach to help rewire the brain, shift underlying thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, and build sustainable habits for long-term success. Now, as a community engagement specialist, Chelsea fosters meaningful connections, guiding individuals in mastering the fundamentals of mindset, behavior change, and habit formation. Welcome, Coach Chelsea Denlinger.
Hey, thank you so much, Gigi. We're hosting this global leadership conference and also us working together. I mean, you're somebody who crushes it in their fitness goals, but also in life, and that does not surprise me because I just know this power about you. I'm really excited to see lots of people today, lots of new faces. So let's get right into it. I have a question. How many of you have ever set a health and fitness goal? I know I have. Maybe something to lose weight. Maybe something like, I want to build muscle. Or maybe you finally want to feel better. And then you're thinking to yourself, uh-oh, this is way harder to stick with than I expected. Yeah. Well, just know that in the beginning, that motivation, that excitement, it's normal. We hope that it is there. And then over time, maybe that motivation dips a little bit. That's also normal. And the goal that seemed so close at first now seems far reaching. But just wait. What if I told you the key to success is not just about working on a goal, but it's the leadership you bring? Today, I'm going to talk with you about transformational leadership. Now, what is it? Those 4 key elements to it, and then I'm going to share an example. So what is transformational leadership? Let me tell you what it is not. It is not telling people what to do. It is inspiring and empowering people to believe in their potential, to see their potential, and achieve what they thought was impossible. Transformational leadership has 4 key elements. First, we start off with role modeling. This is leading by example. You show others the values and behaviors you want them to follow. Next is connection. You are getting to know people. You understand their needs and you can provide support. The third is creativity. You encourage them to get creative, think outside the box. We all have creativity within us. Just some of us need a little help expressing it. And the fourth is motivation and inspiration. You help motivate them to craft a vision that paints a picture of their potential. And they get inspired by this vision, this potential, and they want to take action. They want to push themselves in ways that go beyond their comfort, because when you step into discomfort, that is where you truly grow. Transformational leadership. It is role modeling, connection, creativity, motivation, and inspiration. When you apply these 4 elements in health and fitness, you help with that physical goal and you prime someone's mindset to help them succeed. If you're somebody who says, yes, I walk the talk, I develop personal relationships with people, I tap into my creativity rather than lock it away in a little key that doesn't have a key, a door that doesn't have a key. Or if you're somebody that says, I create motivation and I find inspiration, then this type of leadership just might be your style. So let me give you an example of transformational leadership that I have kind of used with a client. So I had a client and they came to me and they said, Coach Chelsea D, I have a goal. And that goal is to lose weight and get fit. But I have a problem. I have tried every plan under the sun. No program is working for me. Nothing sticks. I feel overwhelmed, a little hopeless, and just a lack of control. Can you help me? And I'm like, oh, okay. Let me see what I can do. So I could have easily just said, all right, this is what we're going to do, and you're going to follow these steps, and this plan I cultivate for you and design for you, and it's going to get you from point A to point B. But I had to put on the tracks because I know from coaching and training that doesn't usually work, and this person clearly needed a different approach. I'm guessing what they tried before with all the other programs was this one where someone prescribed them something to do. It was not individualized. And I was like, let's get personal. So what we did was first create a vision plan. And I asked them questions. I said, okay, tell me about your big goal. What's that motivation underneath that big goal? Imagine if you were working on that goal and you got to the end of the goal. You met the goal. How would you feel? And this is kind of their response. They're like, okay, Coach Chelsea D, I have this big goal. It's to lose weight and get fit. And I want to do that because I want to have energy. And I'm like, wow, energy, that would be a great feeling. And then I'm like, why do you want to have energy? And their response is, I want to have energy so I feel stronger. I was like, oh, strength is so powerful. Tell me why you want to have more strength. And they're like, well, I want to get stronger because I want to play with my kids. I want to be able to keep up with my kids. They're young little kids. And they have a lot of energy. And I'm like, wow, it's pretty honorable and certainly rewarding to do that. So let me see if I got this right. You want to lose weight, get fit, so you can have energy and strength to play and keep up with your kids. And they're like, absolutely. And then I say, is there anything else that you want to work on? And they say, I think I could use some more confidence as well. So we just dug deep into those motivations behind the big goal. And then I'm like, okay, we can work on the weight loss and the fitness as your first goal, or was there something else you'd like to tackle in the beginning? And surprisingly, they came and said, for me to do all that, I think I need to manage my stress. All right, let's work on stress. That's what we did. We focused on the stress. I introduced them to techniques like deep breathing exercises, journaling, a little bit of mindfulness activities. And you know what happened? That stress that was really high, it came down. And what happens when stress comes down? Energy goes up. And what happens when energy goes up? You could use that energy to get fit in the gym, to get stronger in the gym. So it was all coming together. They had the stress coming down, greater energy, getting stronger in the gym, getting more confident overall. During that process, they are losing weight. They are getting fitter. Transformational leadership. It's built on empowerment, connection, and trust. For this style to be effective, we must listen to their pain points, hear their desires, and be a guide and inspiration in the process to help them achieve greatness that they didn't see for themselves because they want to be better than they were yesterday. We are the ones that can believe in them when they don't believe in themselves. So that is transformational leadership. I'm Coach Chelsea D. If you would like to connect with me more, I am on Noom Vibe, a free podcast that you can listen to and download. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, and pretty much any social media platform. It's all at Coach Chelsea D. Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you so much, Coach Chelsea Denlinger. A very powerful talk on transformational leadership. And again, it was such an honor to have worked with you. I mean, coming off a knee injury, I probably would still be with that knee brace still. I remember texting you saying, I'm not bringing the knee brace to the marathon. That was a blessing. God is good. God is truly good. And again, thank you so much, Coach Chelsea Denlinger. Now, our next speaker is Solvega. Solvega is an HR consultant, career coach, connector, and speaker. Her passion lies in helping immigrants thrive professionally in the United States and in working with employers to make their workplace culture more inclusive. Welcome, Solvega.
Hello, Gigi, and hello, everybody. It's so pleasure to be here. I decided not to use slides, only a few at the end, because my topic is about belonging. And for many years, it felt I don't know if I will belong in a new country. And I believe many immigrants feel the same way. We always question that. And especially in some places like public speaking, it was not a place I felt I will ever belong. And that's why I wanted for today to see you and you to see me. But this year I found a few different things. I've realized that you don't need to be perfect to make a difference, and that imperfect speakers are really important and needed in the world where many people feel imperfect as well. And our message can be really important and needed, and our silence almost can be an insult for somebody who relies on our message today. So, yes, belonging in a new country is a journey. When I came to the States, as I mentioned, for many days I didn't know if I will belong or I will be accepted because it was hard. I faced rejection after rejection. I had many interviews that ended after the first question, and that experience was not easy. But yet, later on, you establish yourself in a career, but still somehow, you don't consider all opportunities. So a year and a half ago, I got a challenge. I met one person for a mentoring session, and he told me that, Solveiga, for you to be successful in the United States, you have to be visible. Visibility meant speaking, thought leadership, and being an influencer. And he told me, why you just come to my podcast and I help you to be more visible. And what I told him that all those things look really good on paper, and I understand how important it is, but those opportunities are not for me. And when he asked me why, I have a very good answer. I mentioned different reasons. I don't like my own recordings. I don't like to see myself on camera. I get nervous. I stumble over the words. I stutter. And my story is only an immigrant story. There are so many other people who can tell better story than me. But finally I agreed. And it didn't go well. I got nervous. And the worst part was actually getting recording after it. Because suddenly I wanted to project confidence for other immigrants, and I didn't see that at all. And somebody who's trying to establish myself as a professional, I thought like if I will share this video with others, I'm going to ruin the career because no confidence, speaking very fast and clear. But I did share it. And what happened then is something I didn't expect it. I started getting calls from other immigrants asking me to be a voice for them and told me how courageous I was. And then I realized that where I saw how imperfect I was, other people just wanted to see me. And also what I've realized that there are so many people feel exactly the same way as me. From my connections at the time, only few of them shared the videos, and both of them had perfect English and very comfortable in front of a camera. And yet it didn't feel comfortable for myself. But the conversation that it changed everything when my mentor asked me, like, if you don't lead those conversations, who will? And there are people who may rely on your message today. And then you suddenly realize that a lot of other people have exactly the same fears. And that's why as an immigrants, even if we work very hard and we speak in other languages, but somehow like we always feel that we are not enough. That somebody else is better at telling our own stories and somebody else is a better speaker than us. And that's why those stories are missing. And that's actually, it inspired me to start my own consultancy, to consider speaking opportunities. And it's been rewarding to see that helps other people to do the same. I found that belonging starts within yourself, and you have, and also helping others people to belong, you can help yourself as well. So if you feel the same way, don't think that you're alone in the journey, and think that also your message, as imperfect it can sound, it can be really important and needed for somebody else. And now I just will share a few things. So these are the words that I got to hear after my first speech, and that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond the measures. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And we ask ourselves who I'm to be: brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous, and actually who you're not to be. You're playing small, do not serve the world. And now, I would like to ask you, if you have time, just scan a QR code and provide me the feedback, showing maybe why the conversations like this are important, maybe what it resonated with you, because your feedback, can help to make a bigger impact, and your feedback can be really important. So yes, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Solvega. Very powerful. Now, our next speaker is Theodora, and her mission is to impact as many teenagers as possible to help them have a clear vision, remove any blocks and fears, and move towards achieving their true purpose in life. Now, Theodora has been a pioneer in the field of education for over 25 years. She's a professional development consultant for educational leaders and their teams. Welcome, Theodora.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gigi. And hi, everyone from Greece. I live in Greece. I'm not in the United States, and it's such an honor to be here today. So I've been working with students and educators for more than 25 years. I'm a teacher and a teacher trainer as well. And lately I've started working on emotional well-being with educators, because I've realized there is this turn that can make the difference in somebody's life. And while I've been working with so many students and educators all these years, I've noticed a pattern. So I started seeing people being really active and so alive in class and so sparked, and other educators with the same set of students and same workload being burnt out. So I started asking myself, what's going on here? Why come some teachers are so sparked and so engaged and thriving in class, while others are not even surviving? And I started noticing what is it in it for them. And I started noticing some patterns. And these patterns, now I see them in other people as well, not only in educators. So the difference is not in the workload, the difference is not in the environment. The difference is mainly on how they measure success for themselves internally. So it's this internal leadership they have. And so I would like to invite you to do an activity with me. Of course, we're not going to share, it's super personal, right? But you're going to notice some, maybe the pattern as well, and you can add your own features as well. So we keep trying to fix the culture in our teams with team building and team support, but we don't pay attention to some other features, and I'm going to share them today with you. So if I can share my screen. And I love this quote, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So I would like you to take a moment to reflect on that. What does it mean for you and your teams, if you have teams? And what does it mean for a school with educators? I don't think it's only for educators. I don't think it's only for students. culture eats strategy. Like you might have the best strategy, you might have the best plans, but if the culture in the environment you're working in is toxic, then nothing can work, no strategy can work. So my invitation for you now is to see this pattern, what makes somebody be sparked. And I would like us to go through that together and assess yourselves on those 7 elements and maybe add your own elements as well. So the first thing that I notice everybody having is service learning. And this could be volunteering. This could be paying it forward in some way. So I noticed a lot of educators, whatever they were learning in a training or something, they would just straight away go and teach it to somebody else, either a student, either a parent, or a friend. So I would like you to assess yourselves on this category from like make a number from 1 to 10 and write a number. Where do you think you are right now in that area? How much do you pay it forward? Not how much you would like to pay it forward, but how much you actually do pay it forward. So this is just an initial assessment, just to become aware of it, because once we become aware of it, then we can move on and make changes, right? The second thing is pioneering practices. And when I say pioneering practices, I don't mean that you are the first one to adopt the new like technology or new applications that you find online. But whatever you're learning, how much do you filter it and make it your own so you make something new come to life out of it? Whatever you're learning, a new project, a new training you do, how much do you filter it out through your own experiences and practices and give birth to something new? Again, assess yourselves on that area and see where you are right now, and maybe start thinking where you would like to go in that area as well. The third is acknowledgement. So I've noticed that the educators who are sparked in class have a way to acknowledge themselves. And in this way, they model their students how to model, how to acknowledge themselves as well. So they have a special way to acknowledge themselves and see their progress without judgment. They acknowledge what they have done and what they haven't done, and without judgment, they move on to improving themselves by learning even more, right? So assess yourselves again. Where are you in this scale? The fourth element is resilience and emotional well-being. So the question here is, how long does it take you to bounce back after a struggle, after a challenge? And how can you, how do you find ways to regulate them yourselves? So I figured that those educators know how to regulate themselves, and in this way, they can model it to their students as well. So the students learn how to regulate themselves just by observing their educator. So maybe you could assess yourselves on that area as well and see how much you linger on a setback, or how quickly you bounce back. The fifth element is key leadership. And what I mean when I say key leadership, and I will agree with Chelsea as well, it's not about being a leader of others and having followers. It's all about being a leader of yourself, having this internal validation system and being able to lead yourself. So this way you model to others in your family or your students or the people who are around you. So the question here is, how much do you rely on your internal validation system, or you expect external validation? How much you want to please others in order to feel a leader? Good up until now? So moving on, empowerment. The sixth element is empowerment. So I feel that these educators and the people I have worked with who are not educators have, again, a system that measures their KPIs that are not external. They are internal. So they measure themselves, they measure their progress, and again, without judgment, they move on to making amends and improving, becoming better. They don't stay in judgment, which is really, really crucial. So my question for you is, if you have an internal measurement, an internal system that measures your success, and how you measure your success and what is success for you. So again, rate yourselves on that scale. And the last element in my formula, in this pattern I noticed, is development. So development for me means that these educators learn in the trainings, they learn in whatever they're studying, and then they design and develop something new. It could be a new formula, it could be a new system, it could be a new tool, but they will always develop something new. So for you again, I would like you to rate yourselves. How much do you develop? Do you design and develop when you learn something? How much do you move forward and design and develop something new? And if you would like to share, if you want to ask me any questions, and if you would like to share, and if there is another element you would like to add in this pattern I have noticed, if you agree or disagree, I'm happy to hear it. And I would love to have your feedback, like now or later on. And for the ones who would like to connect with me, there is this information is available. And if you want to connect and for a 15-minute talk or something like a training for your team, I'm happy to offer a well-being audit for you and your team at any moment.
Thank you
Am I
so
on
much.
time? Thank you, Dr. Gigi.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Now, did anyone want to share from the activity that Theodora shared with us here as far as the numbers? Does anyone want to share?
And if I can add here, these numbers mean nothing. Okay, we cannot compare our numbers, because I might be a 3 in empowerment and Dr. Gigi might be a 5, but this doesn't mean anything, right? It's totally personal. But if you had any realizations while doing the activity, I would be more than happy to hear it.
Thank you, Theodora. And if you'd like to share, you can always share in the chat as well. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Now, our next speaker is Raju Datta, and he is an investor and entrepreneur. Welcome, Raju.
Thank you, Dr. Gigi, and thanks for everyone who talked. I kind of will round it up from all the points. I wish I went last because I could have brought more things, everybody different points. So my topic is going to be, if you're into leadership, you probably know Dr. John C. Maxwell. And he's one of the best authors and leadership coaches in the world, at least in US for sure, right? Number one, he wrote a book called 21 Laws of Leadership. I'll share my screen. The first law is law of leadership, law of the lead, which is what I'll, let me kind of figure, okay, there you go. Can everybody see my screen?
It's pitch black.
Oh, okay. That's what I was afraid of. There you go. Okay, there you go. So law of the lid, what does it mean? So law of the lid in other ways, what John C. Maxwell has 21 laws of leadership. And I think the law of the lid pretty much pretty much dictates everything else and pretty much involves everything else. For example, Steve was talking about being in the present, and Chelsea was talking about transformational leadership. Everything to do with leadership, law of the lead dictates if you're trying to be a better person or lead a team or your family or whatever the case is, law of the lid dictates that. What is law of the lid? Basically, what Dr. John C. Maxwell says is, if you're, let's say there are 10 levels. If your level's, let's say 5, the law dictates that only up to level 4 or maybe level 5 will follow you. Here's the thing, right? If you're going to go follow somebody, you'll only follow them if they're going to actually enhance your life or teach you something or you trust them. So that's why, you only can attract up to that. I think this applies even to personal life. If you're, friends, whatever, or even a partner, if you're trying to attract, you're going to only attract people who up to your level. And I'll put it in another way. Mahatma Gandhi said this: be the change you wish to see in the world. So whatever you want to see in other people, if you're not that, then there's no point in expecting other person to be that way. So in my opinion, law of the lid is an infinite game. For example, what Chelsea was talking about, transformational leadership. That's one part, right? There's 4 principles she shared, right? And then Theodora shared about being your authentic self and showing yourself. That could be another thing. And then, same thing with resilience, right? There's so many principles shared. Everything you essentially improve, that's your lid is improving. So how do you improve your lid? In my opinion, there's 3 ways. One is books, podcasts, coaches, attending seminars like this. It's an infinite game. If there is a book called Infinite Game where it's more talking about business. Simon Sinek wrote this book about business. That's, if you do an infinite game, then your business is never going to lose, whatever business you're in. It's the same with life or improvement. There's no level you reach. Although Dr. John C. Maxwell talks about level 5, it doesn't matter. I don't know if there's a level 5 is the ending. There is always room for improvement. So books, podcasts, coaching, seminars, so on. But the most important thing, which kind of Solveiga was kind of sharing, when she said she was hesitant to go in front, but till she did it, nothing happened, right? That's where she is. So that's important. Like no matter how many books, podcasts, coaches, whatever you've been to, if you're not practicing, it doesn't matter. So practice is important. And I kind of put down a few books. I'm pretty much read every day, but some books I read multiple times because I find myself, no matter how many times I read, I still haven't even mastered or even got really good at even 10% of it. So I'm constantly rereading. So one of the top 4 books for me is The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. If anybody doesn't know about that, it's the precursor to Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow is a little bit more watered down version than the 1925 edition. Remember that 1925, it's hard to find and it's a bit expensive. That's the one. And then my other favorite books are Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. And then probably everybody knows this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I've read 15 plus times. I still feel like I didn't even master half of them or good at half of them. Every time I go back, oh, I guess I still didn't learn. So Unto That Soul, so on, right? So that's the second one, the first one. The second one is something Chelsea talked about. I'm going to cover that too, because health, eating, exercise. If you're going to try to be Mr. Universe or something, I'm not talking about that. Because the energy level is attractive. If you're being a person kind of low energy, not looking so healthy, then people are not going to be attracted. So your lid is limited by the type of person you're being. And a lot of that is dictated by your health, which is dictated by what you're eating, what you're putting in your gut, because science says almost 95% of our brain is controlled by our gut. It has more nerves than the brain. So it's very important what you're eating, exercise, that dictates a lot of your energy levels. And the more bad things you put in because everything is energy, right? The food is energy. So if you're putting bad energy in you, then you're obviously exhibiting the bad energy. Last but not the least, it kind of ties into kind of 1 and 2 together is mind. Taking care of your mind constantly. Steve Kidd kind of shared, like being in the present moment. That's what I mean when I talk about mind. Whether you practice spiritually, maybe you're religious, maybe you read the Bible, maybe you just practice mindfulness, meditation, whatever the case is. Maybe you just pray. Doesn't matter, regardless. If you're praying, that you're concentrating on the present, on that prayer. That means you being present, not worried about the past or the future. There's a saying, I went to Landmark. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Landmark. Several coaches, by the way, if anybody's interested in leadership, there's one course in Landmark. I'm not affiliated with them anymore, but team management leadership program, amazing program. But one of the things we used to learn there is you're living your future from your past. If you're stuck in your past, then that's what you're living. Your future is dictating your past is dictating your future because you're kind of stuck. But if you practice the mindfulness, however, prayer, whatever you're practicing, being more in the present, then you're not stuck in the past. You're more in the present. And that way you are being a person that obviously your lid is increasing through that too. So bottom line, the last part, I'll kind of round it up all together, all even theater of what it shared, like the culture part, everything, all of the points that shared is basically increasing the law of the lid in everything, right? Everything you're learning, you're being a better, healthy person, then you're increasing the law of the lid in that part, but that covers other parts too. So in my mind, everything is upon us. It doesn't matter whether you're leading somebody or not. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. If you're trying to be a better person, then you increase the lid. That means you learn more, or you constant in that learning mode and being more healthy, increasing your health, and then being more mindful or staying in the present. With that, I'll end it there. I don't have any share about my connections, but I'm mostly on LinkedIn. I do a podcast called Mind Shift to Health and Wealth, kind of share about health and wealth. I'm a health nut. So I do a lot of stuff there. And also I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and share their stories. So some of the speakers here, by the way, if I can connect you, please connect with me. Maybe I need to talk to you guys. All right, with that, I'll end it there. Any questions I can answer.
Does anyone have any questions for Raju? All right, not at this time, but Raju, if they do have any questions later on, I will definitely circle back. Thank you so much, Raju. Now, our next speaker is Jill Lublin, and Jill Lublin is a 4 times best-selling author, international speaker, media magnet, and Jill is committed to helping you find your voice and be heard. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you so much, Gigi, and I'm so glad to be with all of you, seeing some wonderful friends there. And, it's really, I really want to take this moment to inspire you to get and be heard, to really speak and be seen, right? Because the truth is you are all experts, and experts are who the media actually features. And the super great thing about being in the media is it elevates your expertise, and it really the power of publicity. I like to say it's like the 3 M's. Do you like M&Ms? Anybody? Anybody my M&M lovers? Just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, good. I like the peanut ones myself. And it's really about the 3 M's of publicity, which is to magnetize you, to monetize you, and to multiply you. And that is powerful. Publicity is a gift that keeps on giving. So I want to give you some ways to do this that are simple in our short time together, and things you can do to focus in on it and start it moving. And the first thing is, I want you to think of publicity like planting a garden. And so you plant seeds now, and I want you to think in 3, 6, and 9 month increments, maybe up to a year, and plan for that. Okay, now the thing about publicity is it's also evolutionary, just like you are. So you'll have different launches at different times. You'll have different things you're promoting. I want you just to be aware of, okay, in that different times and different things I'm promoting, what holidays are associated with it? What can I attach myself to? So for instance, I love nationaldaycalendar.com. It's a great resource. Take a look at it and see what holidays might work for you to get really shifted into, and then sometimes take a reverse position. So for instance, I have a woman who's a divorce coach, and we use Valentine's Day for how to fall out of love. That's her message, right? And so you want to take a look at where you can fit in. That's a great way to help plan it. And months of the year, for instance, also have different themes. And then related to that is creating a message, and a message that matters, and a message that's resonant, authentic, and who you are, so that you can speak it anytime, anywhere. That's really important. And what does that mean? Now, the thing about media is that they're looking for experts. And will you just raise your hand if you're an expert? I want to see. Because thank you. Every hand should be raised. You are experts, and experts, frankly, claim it. And experts know that the media needs you, and they are looking for you. I promise. They need to quote people. They need you to do interviews. And so experts also solve problems. And you are the problem solvers in the marketplace, and publicity is going to be that really strategy to move you ahead, so that everyone knows not only who you are, but frankly, works with you and helps promote your product and service. And in the media, what they care about is what's the problem out there, not what do you do. So that's a different mindset for many of you. It's called what's the problem out there. And then the other side of this message formula, which I'm teaching you for media, is then give people 3 solutions. I like 3 because frankly, the brain can remember that much, and keep them really simple, keep them in 5-year-old language, keep out all the jargon and all those fun facts that you know. Really just make it about giving people 2 things, and that is value and benefit. I remember interviewing Entrepreneur Magazine for my book, Guerrilla Publicity. And, of course, picture this, you in Entrepreneur Magazine, that would be great. And one of the things she said to me was really what she cared about is this giving her readers something to do, to be of value, to fix problems. Like that's what she was looking for. And I've always kept that in mind. The simplicity, the KISS method, thank you, is really about keeping things very simple and making it so that people can relate to you. So that's why I say keep out the big words. And here's a real important tip too, and that is use you language. So when you're giving the solutions, you want to put you language in there. Not I help people, but here's something you can do right away. And sprinkle your gold on people, like give them golden nuggets, give them the focus of what you know. Please don't fire hose people. That's why I like 3 tips. I think it, makes a lot of sense, and it keeps it very simple. And again, giving them real world, real time things to do. And then, you know how it is. People are like, I don't know what to do. Help me more, right? And so that's the problem solution formula that becomes your message. Then when you get your message, now you're looking through things like nationaldaycalendar.com and finding the right holidays and the right places where you can be featured. And that works so well. The other thing I want to encourage you to do is to use everything you've got. Now, this might be a new way in for media that perhaps, maybe not through what you actually do, but using everything you've got, your ethnicity, your religion, something about your personal story, perhaps. It could be almost anything. I have a business consultant. He has a son who's autistic. So we use National Autism Month for talking about, well, being a dad, being in business, taking care of a child, right? And talking for Father's Day, all kinds of different things that maybe he wouldn't be talking about as a business consultant. I have a woman, she is a business communications coach. We're doing great stories and getting excellent media results with how to effectively communicate in business. And then Black History Month comes along, and because she's a Black woman, we do a whole shift of story, and it's the story is how to be a powerful Black woman and communicate effectively in today's times. Well, by switching that story, using everything she's got for the month of February, Black History Month, guess what? She got in Black Enterprise. She got in Essence Magazine, all kinds of places and spaces that maybe, using the normal business story, which by the way also got great results, we wouldn't have gotten. So it's called use everything you've got, get creative, and be not only who you are, but also bring in something maybe vulnerable, maybe other parts of your story that you don't normally talk about. The use everything you've got strategy really works in media in ways that maybe even, if it's a little slow getting the regular media to just say yes, all of a sudden you come in a different way with a different focus. It's an easier yes. And the other wonderful thing is, because it's very oriented towards specific markets, it's powerful. I remember in my Media Mastery Intensive, I was looking across Zoom and I said to this woman, let me just ask you, what's your ethnicity? She said, I'm Filipino. I said, would you mind? Now, she had come into that to build her digital marketing agency and get clients and use publicity to do that, which is a great thing to use publicity for, to build profits, and frankly, trust. And trust is very important in the marketplace today. And I'll tell you, when you get publicity, you get trust. And it's just really natural. It's a complete guarantee, frankly. And she said, listen, I'm here to get publicity and make it work. And one of her dreams was to speak on the stage with Les Brown. And, that was part of her dreams and part of her plan. Well, guess what? By using her Filipino heritage, she actually was featured in the top 30, under 30 Filipino businesses in the Filipino Business Journal. Like, how fabulous is that? And that got the attention of Les Brown. She sent it to him, and she ended up, guess what? Speaking on the stage of Les Brown. And dreams do come true, my friends. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. And let me also tell you, she was 28 at the time, by the way. And the thing about publicity, remember I said to you, it is the gift that keeps on giving. Let me just tell you, this woman can use that when she's 50 and 60 and 70. It doesn't matter. She's always been featured in the wonderful Filipino Business Journal, and that always pays off. So, it's just been a constant fabulous elevation for her using media. And these are some examples of how to use what you've got. And I hope that I've been stimulating some things for you going, wow, I never thought to use that about me. I have a gentleman, he owns an insurance company, 64 years old, was actually coming to me for a third project and third career transition. He still owned the insurance companies. I said, you know what? What's the biggest nationally read magazine in the United States? And I know we have a global audience. One of the things, it's called AARP, Modern Maturity, by talking about having a third career and what that meant. He was able to get in the largest well-read publication in the United States, Modern Maturity. Why? Because of his age. How could you use everything you've got? So just, think about that, be with that. That's going to take you to a whole next level, really storytelling and publicity and opportunities that you perhaps might not have had any other way. So we're talking about message and formula, using everything you've got, gave you a message formula, actually what to say and how to use it, as well as some resources for getting yourself out there quickly. I would tell you, go on to Google Alerts and put in your name and also one word. Like I have a book, The Profit of Kindness, got 4 books. That's second book, The Profit of Kindness. And to that end, I run these kindness circles. I'll put the link in just a bit for that. And by putting a word in for Google Alerts under kindness, I found out that World Kindness Day is November 13th. Now, let me just tell you, I can orient my book, my publicity toward World Kindness Day. I had Jack Canfield talk to our kindness circle this past November. I was featured in Fox News, big morning show in the Bay Area, talking about World Kindness Day. So everything could center around that. That wasn't even about guerrilla publicity, my other book, and the thing that I do most. But it's using what? Everything I've got. So I hope that's been inspiring for you and given you new ways to look at publicity. I'll definitely I have a wonderful publicity challenge coming up, and I'll put in my link to schedule time if you'd like, and happy to help you in every way, because here's the thing I know. The power of media is the power of getting not only your name out, but really having that kind of impact, influence, connection, quality, giving your gift to the world. I've seen what it does to grow you, to grow others, and to really make the difference that you came here to make. Because here's the deal, my friends, your message matters. Wonderful to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Now, our next speaker is Nellie Harden, and Nellie is a wife, a mother of 4 daughters, former worth chaser, trauma survivor, and an author and speaker in the space of family life and leadership. But above all, she's a daughter of the one true king. She focuses on giving women and those leading and raising young women today the tools and knowledge to build a Christ-centered foundation of worth, esteem, and confidence that fosters self-discipline and give them the freedom and joy to live the lives they were created for. Now, she co-authored No Problem Parenting, wrote 40 scriptures and conversations to have when raising daughters, and is currently working on her next book set to release in 2026. That is the blueprint every parent and leader needs to logistically build a custom tailored foundation for every woman. And she has been a guest speaker on over 150 shows, podcasts, and stages, and is passionate about building stronger generations to come and stepping away from one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter leadership techniques that have stifled purpose and passion in so many. Now, her career has spanned from humpbacks to humans and includes decades studying personal, family, faith, and leadership development. She believes in the power of engagement and sharing perspectives to open doors and change lives. And lastly here, when Nellie is not writing and speaking, she loves being outside with her crazy Happy Heart and Crew, serving, learning, and adventuring through all life has to offer. Welcome, Nellie.
Hi there, everyone. Well, that was a really long intro. I guess I didn't realize how long it was. Sorry about that, but so glad to be here, everyone. Now, I do a lot of speaking, and I have a great message to share with you guys, and I am going to do my best to pare it down in exactly 10 minutes. So bear with me, and if I talk fast, I actually have a download for you. I will put in the chat right here that you can go and download, and I'll refer to that as we're going along as well. Okay, so my talk and what I want to bring to you guys today is Mastering Your Mind, a tactical plan to bringing productivity and purpose to the table every day. I don't know about you, but I got really sick of people just saying, oh, be productive or bring purpose or have purpose in this. I'm like, well, how do I actually do that? I'm a big how person. My background is in biology and psychology because I love to know how things are actually happening and then how they come to fruition in life. And so we are going to be talking about the table today being a corporate table, a negotiation table, a dining room table, whatever that is for you. And just keep in mind, as I said, we're going to go through a lot of scriptures today too. It's all in the chat, the link is in the chat, and you can go and download those as well. So I want to start with this thought. To be a leader of others, you first must lead yourself, which can only truly be done by submitting as a follower to the one most equipped and worthy to lead you. Now, I'm going to reverse engineer this so that we can get to the point that we are a leader, right? And we all have the capacity to lead. But first, we need to lead ourselves, and we can only do that if we are a follower of the one most equipped to lead us first. So the number one thing that you need to do first is submitting, which is really hard for a lot of us to do, right? But who are we submitting to, why, and how? So let's dive into that for a couple minutes. Well, first, for me and myself, it is submission to the one true King, like Dr. Gigi said in my bio too, and that is Jesus Christ. And I'm going to say, I did not grow up in the church. I am a late comer. I grew up as secular can be. And it wasn't until my 30s that this awoken in me. And I know, I'm well past my 30s now. So it's been, I don't know, about 15 years or so. But that to say, this wasn't something ingrained in me as a child during my formative years. This is something I came to in my adulthood and realized and really fell deeply in love with when I understood what was happening. So why submitting to him though? He is omnipotent, right? So he is in control of himself and his creation. That's you and me and everything else. He is omniscient, which means he is the ultimate criterion of truth, right? And he is omnipresent, which means he is everywhere all the time. Now, Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, okay? In all your ways, submit to him and he will make your path straight. That is one of the verses for one of my children. I have 4 daughters, and that is a verse for one of them. I have one for each of them, and that is one for her, but also something I follow very much in my own life on the daily. And so trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Why? Because we are finite and he is infinite. It's a very big difference. I cannot lean on my own understanding because I do not know it all, which for leaders a lot of times is really hard to admit, but it is also the truth. We do not know it all. We cannot lean on our own understanding. So John 16:33 says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. Who wants peace? I want peace, right? In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. He has seen every obstacle that I could possibly ever face. So why would I submit to anything else or lean on my own understanding when I can walk alongside and submit to him who has challenged every single obstacle I could face? Okay, so that's submission. That is the first part there. That is being the follower, right? But now it isn't just about making that decision and calling it a day and saying, okay, I've checked the box on life. I'm all good. Now we need to do the harder, bigger work of discipline. Okay. And that is where we go next. So we had submission. Now we are in discipline. And Galatians 5:22 says, but the spirit of the fruit, anyone who knows him, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There's that self-control piece, that self-discipline piece. Against these things, there is no law. Amen to that. That's awesome. So we are a new creation that is built into this. But here's the thing, guys. We are not given this fruit. That's the fruit of the Spirit. That is the end result. That is what we put out into the world. So seeds that are in your fruit can become the beginning of somebody else's, right? That's what happened to me. 2010, it was a very big year. I almost lost my husband. And 2 months later, I almost lost my daughter. And then I was dealing with all of this and had no foundation of faith whatsoever. And then someone was just like, hey, you want to come? And they didn't even know my story. And it was the birth of everything that is most important to me today. So the seeds of your fruit can become the beginning of someone else's, but you aren't just given fruit and said, oh, I'm good to go, right? You're given the seed. But what is the seed? Well, the seed is the Holy Spirit. That is where all renewal and prosperity and success will and can grow from. So 2 Timothy 2:7, 1:7, this is my life verse right here. And it says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and self-discipline. Now, that is not power over, that is power with power right there. So, okay, so I have this seed now because I've submitted, and now what do I do with it? Where does it all start? It all starts here. It all starts in the mind. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. So what do we do in our mind in order to take every thought captive? That kind of seems exhausting, but it comes down to disciplining your thoughts. It's like a really big sifter. We've all gotten ready and sent things to Goodwill, right? There's like a keep pile and a discard pile. Well, do you have any idea how many thoughts that you have a day? There's many studies out there, but it goes up to about 70,000 thoughts per day. And out of that 70,000 thoughts, you make about 35,000 choices from those thoughts. What does that tell you right there? It tells you not every thought needs to have a choice associated with it. We can throw out half, and honestly, we can probably throw out 3/4 or more of those thoughts, because let's face it, a lot of people make some bad choices that have stemmed from bad thoughts too, right? But we need to work on that discernment, that sorting, the keep and the toss pile. So how do we do that? Well, we need to not be a bystander of life. We need to be a driver of our lives. And thankfully, Philippians 4:10 gives us the answer. Love that. Thank you. And that is, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, or praiseworthy, think about such things. That's your keep pile right there. That's your keep pile. Everything else can go in the toss pile. That is your keep pile. So the next stop, once you have your keep pile, your thoughts make the 18 inches or so journey down to here. It goes down to your heart. And then from there, we have Proverbs 4:23 that says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything that you do flows from it. Everything, no exception. So all choices come from the heart and everything flows from it. So to lead yourself well, you first must submit to Him, receive the gift, receive the seed, work with that seed, work with the Holy Spirit to discipline your thoughts and sift out your thoughts and navigate your heart in every action and word that you pour out into this world. Because the outside world only knows the outside of you. And the outside of you are the words and actions that you deliver to the world. It is your fruit that you are delivering to the world. And that is action. And you cannot lead, be productive, or live your purpose without action. Lastly, we have delegating, and we submitted, we disciplined, and now we have delegating. And Moses and Jethro in Exodus 18 have great experience with this, because Jethro comes to Moses and he's like, you need to delegate your responsibilities to capable, trustworthy individuals and to allow yourself to do the primary role that you need to do. And what Jethro's wisdom did is it really highlighted the importance of observing others that you might or might not want to bring onto your team, to know their gifts, to know if they are trustworthy, and to train them well, to be a good steward of the training that you can give them so they can be a good steward of the work that they have and the gifts that they have, right? That is delegating. Delegation isn't just about giving up something and having relief on you so you can sit back and, put your feet up. And I remember I used to mow the grass for my uncle when I was little, and he would be sitting inside watching TV while I was mowing grass. No, that is not a healthy delegation, right? Out there doing it together and making it wonderful, making it great. That's healthy delegation, right? Him doing things he's good at, me doing things that I am good at. So 1 Peter 4:10 says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in the various forms. And Galatians 6:2, carry each other's burdens in the way that you will fulfill the law. Leadership and delegation are for times of flourishing and times of crisis, and frankly, for all of the times in between. We need to help each other carry our burdens, support one another, and have shared responsibility where appropriate. Okay, so lastly, Luke 16:10 says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And I do not believe that any of us sitting here in this room right now, or listening to this conference later on or now, has little goals. We all have big goals. So start where you are and build from today. We are all given the opportunity to grow into who we can become. And you are ready and wanting to change the world in only the way that you can. And it starts with submission to the one who can lead you best, and delegating all those checkpoints, those 70,000 checkpoints throughout the day, being intentional about it and sorting the wheat from the chaff, and then delegating to those who are trustworthy and gifted in the area that you have ready and waiting for them. This is the process, guys. Every goal you are facing and chasing, from the big, hairy, audacious goals to the everyday little ones of where do I go in here? What do I do here? Who do I talk to? How do I manage this challenge, right? Will require this same formula. Submit to him, discipline with him, and delegate for him. So, like I said, I know I was talking fast, but everything can be found in that link in the side chat. But thank you so much, everyone.
I love it. Very powerful. Thank you so much, Nellie. Now, our next speaker is me, Dr. Gigi Sabat, and I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and I'm also the CEO and founder of Life Service Center of America. Now, at this time, I ask that everyone unmute your mics. Unmute your mics. And when I count to 3, I want you all to say with me, and lift up your hands here. I want you all to say with me, I will not give up on my dreams. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. I will not
give up on my dreams.
And again, 1, 2, 3. I will not
give up on my dreams.
And one more time. 1, 2, 3. I will not
give up on my
dreams. I love it. Very powerful. You all did amazing. Now, today I'm going to talk to you all about effective leadership. And so leadership is our ability to take ourselves out of it and lead. And so my word of the year is serve. If you can't put in the chat your word of the year, what is your word of the year? Yes, I'm asking you. And for those of you that are joining us on the online platform as well, and that will be tuning in, what is your word of the year? And when we talk about effective leadership, as I mentioned earlier, I'm also the CEO and founder of Life Service Center of America. But I want to circle back and I want to share with you all that essentially a few years ago, I almost lost my life, death by strangulation in a domestic violence relationship. And after everything that happened, I stepped into God's purpose for my life, and I launched a podcast, the books, and the company Life Service Center of America. And then I also started hosting events. It started off with domestic violence and sexual assault topics that I'm a survivor of. But then God also led me to host them on various subjects. I mean, leadership, business, human trafficking, pregnancy, you name it. And we have not stopped since. Breast cancer, we do it every year. The 6th annual breast cancer event is coming up this year, as well as the domestic violence event. And so I'm just grateful to serve with each and every one of you. But not just that, I'm grateful for our sponsors as well as the community, family, and friends. It's because of you and our team as well. And as we talk about team, all of this is possible because of the team. And when we talk about team, you can't do it by yourself. There's no way. It requires a team. And what is teamwork, right? You need to know your team's strengths, but also their weaknesses, right? And you need to know your own strengths and your own weaknesses, and you need to acknowledge them. Yes, just like you acknowledge your strengths, you need to be able to acknowledge your weaknesses. Both are very important, and teamwork truly matters. Now, when we talk about communication, can anyone here tell me why is communication important? One volunteer. Nellie, take it away.
Because we live in a world that is not just our own. We have to communicate and work with other people. I don't have all the gifts in the entire world, and we need to all come together in order to truly exemplify the gifts that we're given.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm going to make an exception here. I did see another hand go. Mojo, take it away.
Well, communication is absolutely required for connection. Without connection, we're isolated. We can't do nothing alone. So communication is absolutely essential for connection.
That's right. Absolutely important communication, but not just that, meeting people where they are is also important as we communicate, and maybe understanding the trauma that an individual may have faced, because that can affect how they're showing up, right? And how they're communicating. So again, acknowledging where people are and communicating is very important. And now when we talk about listening, listening is also important, but not listening to respond. Listening to understand what the individual is telling you is very, very important. And faith. I want to circle back and I want to share a story with you in regards to what a gentleman shared with us on a public forum. And he shared how his business was operating very poorly when he did not have his faith in his business. But it's when he put his faith first in his business that he was able to observe his business transform. And he himself saw himself transform. And so if you're feeling stuck and maybe you have felt as though you want to put your faith in your business, I want to encourage you to circle back to it today. And I want to encourage you, if that's you, if you want to allow your faith into your business, then do so. Then do so. It's okay. It's okay. And I want to circle back to what Nellie said earlier, because Nellie asked us what's one of our favorite verses. And she shared her favorite verse. And one of my favorite verses is Joshua 1:9. It says, "Haven't I commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid or discouraged, for your Lord your God is with you wherever you go." And therefore, yes, he's with you wherever you go. Oftentimes we hear folks say, well, I feel alone. But the reality is you're not alone. He's with you, not just in your personal life. He's also there. He's there with you in your business. Folks say, well, I feel as though I have to shut it out, shut my faith out of my business or remove it once I clock in. No. He's there with you wherever you go. Keep the faith. And now I would like to share my screen with you all here. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yep.
Great. Now, I want you all to, if you can, scan this QR code and let me know how I did today in regards to effective leadership. And if you can see there, it says, enter this code when prompted. That's Dr. Gigi Sabat. And thank you all so much. That's my talk on effective leadership for today. Thank you. Thank you so much. I know you all are muted. I see those clapping hands. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Now, our next speaker is Mindy East, beautiful soul who I've had the great honor of working with. And as Mindy mentioned earlier, we do have our show that we'll be releasing here soon. That's the Freedom is Everybody's Job show. And Mindy, she's the CEO and founder of Barron Ridge Speakers Agency, and she's known to her grandchildren as Big Mama. Love it. A self-proclaimed late bloomer, Mindy is a firm believer that life's experiences have paved the way for where she is today. And along the years, she developed passions and talents to help her publish The Animal's Weather Guide for Children and The Animal's Guide to Weather Around the World and Other Natural Wonders. Both books carry endorsements from AccuWeather and the Washington Post. And Mindy has been written up by the Washington Post and won the Wichita Alignable Small Business Storyteller Award in 2019. And she was selected VIP magazine's Everything Woman in October 2018. And Mindy is the host of the new show, Ageless Enthusiasm, on PBS Kansas beginning spring of 2021. And Mindy owns Barron Ridge Speakers Agency and manages 24 professional keynote speakers and event MCs from across the USA and Africa. Welcome, Mindy East.
Oh, thank you, Gigi. I have 10 grandkids now. So yeah, I've got quite a few, and actually I let them call me whatever they want, but I will get right to it. I love all the wisdom and all the messages that are coming through. Jill, you connect with me as far as, you're talking about golden nuggets, and I'm talking about gold. And it's everywhere. If you look around, we are in the golden age of America. We just finished up with the Golden Bachelor, who's from my hometown. I actually know him. And his name is Chalk Chapel, and he found love after age 60. And we also, Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and his wife just welcomed baby Golden Ray to their family. And even with our new MAHA going on in our new administration, fast food restaurants are beginning to replace the seed oils with beef tallow to make their French fries extra golden and delicious. But I'm not here to talk about French fries. I'm here to talk about leadership and the opportunities that you have, the golden opportunities that you have with the silver tsunami that is taking place right here in America. My show that I host is called Ageless Enthusiasm. It's redefining life, health, and happiness over 50. I'm very well experienced in the baby boomer genre market. And right now, every day in this country, there are 10,000 people turning 65. And they will continue to do so for the next 5 years. And by 2030, we will have the largest population of seniors ever in the history of America. So that is something for you to capitalize on, especially if you're serving a senior, if you have a senior in your family. If you don't have a senior, guess what? You probably are one. So I just want to give you some golden nuggets of wisdom to help you as you move forward and highlight this and make this part of your presentations, make it part of your everyday business, have it benefit your families or anything. And we've talked a lot about communication. I know Todd's coming up. He's going to talk about communication. Nellie spoke about the importance of communication. Chris Salem talked about emotional intelligence and how that plays into communication. So the baby boomers today were raised primarily by members of the silent generation. So their parents came out of the 20s and 30s. And that generation, if you were raised in a household with a mom or a dad that was born back then, it was impolite to discuss sex, politics, religion, or money. But what's in the news today? It's sex, politics, religion, and money. We have transgender people in sports. We've got the LGBTQ plus movement. We have all kinds of interested, activities that are going on in the world between sex, politics, and religion, money, Bitcoin stocks. I've met ladies that were over 65. I'm over 65. I'm 65. That they had never even filled up their gas tank before. They didn't know how to do banking. Some of them didn't even know how to write a check. So it's a whole different world out there, and you really need to know how to communicate with them. So these are some of my golden nuggets. I have my timer running, so I'm going to go fast and furiously through these, but I also have my information in the chat, and I'll be happy to send you a PDF of all my notes if you'd like to know more. First of all, show respect. Baby boomers appreciate it, and they want to have you acknowledge their expertise and their experiences. Use clear and direct communication. They tend to prefer face-to-face or a phone call rather than a text message. Avoid excessive slang or casual language and no cursing. Listen actively. Be patient and avoid interrupting. Appeal to their values. Baby boomers value hard work, loyalty, and personal responsibility. Keep your word and show up on time. Be patient with technology. I mentioned before we got on that the only computers that were in existence the year I was born were owned by NASA, and they were as big as a house. So remember, this generation probably taught you how to eat with a spoon. So just be patient. Find common ground. Family values, history, music, all those things are always great shared interests to help connect you. Acknowledge their contributions, especially for the veterans. Most of them did not feel welcomed or appreciated coming home. So thank them for their service and show interest in their chosen career field or their military branch. And here's something really important. Don't discount the baby boomer's wealth. The baby boomer is the most affluent consumer out there. Did you know that half of all women over age 50 are single? Yes. But they are also the most powerful consumer. Why? That female has either earned her money, is divorced from her money, or she's inherited it, or in some cases, all three. They are the most powerful consumer, and the 2024 Global World Report finds that boomers are the richest generation in history, and no one will ever come close to their savings. So don't discount the female that you come across. Okay, quickly, some golden opportunities to serve the senior market. What we're going to need in the future are healthcare and medical services, health, wellness, and exercise. Did you know that falls kill more seniors than anything else? So, if you've got a senior in your family, tell them to quit climbing on things. As we age, we forget that we don't have the agility or balance. So now's the time to become a personal trainer like Coach Chelsea B. And also, one of the best things right now with health and wellness is hormone replacement therapy. I've been on that for 15 years. What that does is it just brings your levels up to your optimum. So it enhances your skin, hair, nails, posture, libido, mental clarity. It helps you manage your weight and your posture, your motivation, your energy. All those things can benefit. And now they're so well refined, they have almost zero side effects. My healthcare provider, my doctor, is a breast cancer survivor, and she has her parents on these, and they're in their 80s and they're flourishing. Her dad has some cognitive decline, and it's actually being mitigated and coming back. Okay, financial and retirement planning. Did you know that if you don't have a will or an estate or trust, if you would die, your family could have to wait up to 2 years, and it would cost $10,000 for probate. So make sure that you've got all your documents in order. If you are in the financial or retirement planning field, you are sitting on a gold mine right now. And as far as technology and innovation, healthcare, remote patient monitoring, telemedicine, AI-powered health diagnostics will become more plentiful. Solo agers will really benefit from fall down detection. And did you know that living alone is as detrimental to a senior's health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day? We're not meant to be live alone. Housing and real estate. Oh my goodness, I better hurry this up. I'm a certified aging in place specialist. So if you're in the real estate industry and you're serving the senior market, you are perfectly positioned to help them segue between decluttering and downsizing. If you wanted to do a side business, that is a senior's biggest fear, is, besides falling or choking, is decluttering. What do I do with all this stuff? So if you have a decluttering or an organizing service, you can go in and make their lives so much better. You start with, are you staying? Are you going? Okay, it's kind of like Nellie said, it's your keep pile, it's your donate pile, it's your save pile. So most seniors also have a very bad impression of what the healthcare, what the next step would be. And healthcare communities, we don't use the F word or the N word. No nursing home, no facility. If you have a senior in your midst, take them around and show them these new senior living communities are so lavish, and they're like a resort. So part of the fear is just not knowing how wonderful they are. Some of them have pickleball courts, swimming pools, gardens, walking paths, and some even let you bring your pet with you. So check around and look in and see what you have. What are the options? And here's something that I'm sure none of you know. If you, and you don't have to be a licensed agent, you could just be someone helping a friend from church or a neighbor. If you bring a lead to that senior living community, you can get what is equivalent to their 1 month's rent. That could be thousands. That could be $8,000 to $12,000 in a referral fee. So that's not just a reason to go out and prey on people, but if you're helping someone, that's a nice way to supplement your income while you're serving a senior. Transportation and mobility services, ride sharing, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all those things are going to be growing in popularity. And lastly, I have so much more, but I'm at the end of my time. Lastly, I wanted to just leave you with something kind of sobering, but if you're a caregiver, be very careful, because caregivers, percentage-wise, pass away 63% before the patient. And in the recent news, Gene Hackman, that was a sobering story, and that tells us the importance of taking care of yourself so you can take care of others. Now I have all kinds of wonderful things on how to live with ageless enthusiasm, how you can go out and just stay young and youthful and keep your heart light. So you'll have to message me and I'll be happy to send those to you. Also, I have some wonderful resources. I've met 3 ladies that have written amazing books. The Invisible Patient, on the caregiver situation. That is by Annalie Kruger. The Longevity Blueprint for Health, Wealth and Purpose, Helping Seniors Age in Place and Protect Their Wealth. That's by my friend, Dr. Karina Loyo. And then this is a really amazing book, and I met the author. If any of you have a family member with some cognitive decline, Reversing Alzheimer's by Dr. Heather Sandison. Wichita, Kansas is the only place in the country with the Clear Mind Center where they're showing great improvement to help mitigate Alzheimer's and actually reverse it. It has so much to do with clean water, clean air, clean food, and exercise and sleep. So that's right here in my hometown. So if you want to know more, I'm happy to help you. And above all things, I agree with Nellie. You have to, as a man thinketh, so he shall become. Just keep looking up. Gigi, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be among so many amazing speakers, and I've loved each and every one of your presentations. Thank you.
Welcome. Absolutely amazing, Mindy. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Now, our next speaker is Christopher Salem. And Christopher Salem is a leading expert in emotional intelligence with a specialized focus on creating psychologically safe workplace environments that drive higher team engagement, retention, and productivity. By emphasizing self-leadership principles and effective communication strategies, Chris empowers organizations to build cultures where employees feel valued, heard, and motivated to perform at their best. And with years of experience as a business acceleration and value proposition strategist, Chris helps business leaders, entrepreneurs, and organizations turn ordinary success into extraordinary achievements. His approach is rooted in addressing challenges at their core, offering actionable solutions that lead to lasting personal and professional transformations. Welcome, Christopher Salem.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gigi, and thank you to all the wonderful subject matter experts and speakers here today sharing their insights. Just a lot of great information here and a lot of cohesion and really helping everybody here. I'm going to be talking about leadership redefined. I'm going to talk about the emotional intelligence advantage in action and how this is going to help you as an entrepreneur, a business consultant, a coach, whatever that may be. So I'm not going to be gearing this towards employee workplaces and workplace environments. I'm going to gear it towards all of you here so that you could take this information and do something that could work to help not only yourself, but also your joint alliance partners, as well as, most importantly, the customer and audiences that you serve. So what I'd like you to think about right now as entrepreneurs, what is the number one challenge that you face right now in your business? What would that look like? Let's take a look and see if we can get a quick poll. And I know I got to do this very quickly in 10 minutes, but we're just going to get a quick poll. Marketing, that's number one. Leads, okay, great. Cash flow, awesome, okay. All of those are real. Platform building, all right, thank you so much. Because here's the thing about every great leader, and all of you are great leaders. It's just a matter of making a few tweaks in the things that you could be doing that could take you from where you are and where you want to be, despite what's happening with the uncertainty in our economy. Now, when it comes to the EQ advantage, if we're going to address some of the challenges, some talked about marketing, leads, exposure, cash flow, let's kind of sum it up and we'll just say that, hey, it's generating business, marketing, lead gen. Now, with that being said, here's the things that every effective leader that utilizes the EQ advantage. The EQ advantage is about understanding where you are and where you want to be. It's understanding your own emotions and how you respond to situations and other people rather than reacting. See, we all have negative emotions, and the negative emotions are actually a good thing. A lot of times people think, well, no, isn't that bad? No, it's actually good because it lets us know what is unresolved going on in our lives, in our business. That being said, we don't have to react from it. We can learn to respond. It's just a message internally for you, then what you can do now to enhance that. See, when we can now look at negative emotions as a message on what we can do better, we can now address the things that are in our control versus that is not in our control to get better at it. And as we get better at mastering the things that we can control, we can now boost our level of confidence. And it's through our level of confidence that's going to show up in our contextual content, that we're not out there chasing people, telling people how great we are, or look at me and look at where I am. It's about sharing content that is compelling to them, that aligns to their challenge, to the results they seek. And by doing that, that's going to build rapport, that's going to build trust, and then eventually respect, where people are going to come to you. I teach this all the time in our custom speaker influencer program that I've been doing now for, now going on 13 years now. We've done it with business professionals, and it all came down to building their confidence. And you've got to build your confidence through the EQ advantage. So what I would say is, to all of you, do you spend most of your time getting caught up in what you can control or what you can't control? And I'll give you a little hint of what you can't control, because I don't have much time to share about that. We can't control other people in situations. So just throw everything that you know about people and situations into those two buckets. You can't control those two things. But what can you control? What can we control? Let's see if we get a few people that can. Somebody says yourself, ourself, your attitude, actions. Yes, you can control you. You can control the communication to yourself and others from your inner champion versus your inner critic. Most people in the world communicate in a passive or aggressive way. How many of you know yes people? The reason why I can say, because I'm a recovering yes person. Why? Because my self-limited beliefs growing up and I brought into my adult life were a strong need for validation. I didn't get it from my father growing up, so I sought it out, guess who? From all of you. So if I got your validation, I would go out of my way to please and enable you. See, oftentimes what we're doing is we often come across as needy. We come across as that we're chasing you for your business. That's not going to get you business. With that being said, I had to learn how to shed that passive side of communication to become more assertive. How many of us know aggressive communicators? These are people that talk down to people. They oftentimes can be seen as condescending in their approach. But the reality is that they're perfectionists. They have a hard time delegating and trusting other people can do it to the level of quality that they can do it. And by doing that, that doesn't build cohesion with people. It brings a disengagement. So oftentimes, if we can learn that if our style of communication is now not bringing people in, engaging people, we can now learn to be more assertive. Assertiveness is being specific, clear, and concise in our communication, leaving very little to no room for assumption and speculation. Most of the problems, why we operate from expectations, why we are the victim of our expectations is because we're caught up in the control we can't control, and we're communicating in a passive aggressive way. Assertiveness is where we ask a lot of questions. We chunk our words, pause, ask a question. We want to make sure as the sender or the receiver that people truly do understand us and we truly understand them on an emotional level, not based upon the words they said, but their eye contact, their body language, the tone of their voice. All of these things that when you can now, through emotional intelligence, tap into that. When somebody says, yeah, I'm doing okay, but their eye contact, their body language, the vibe they're giving off contradicts that. These are the things that people, whether if they know it or not, when they feel that you understand and relate to them, is what's going to build that connection. That with your joint alliance partners, with your customers, with your prospects, people that that will eventually want to do business with you. And this has got to show up across your not only when you talk, but through your body language, through your tone, through your contextual content on social media, on your IP and marketing collateral, all of the above. It's got to be consistent. But we could control our communication. Our behavior is our behavior in alignment with our communication. I know with me, I had aggressive behavior and it contradicted my passive communication. So I wasn't truly connecting with people back in the day. But when I learned to now align and make my behavior and my communication specific, clear, and concise, whether if I'm the sender or the receiver of the communication, now I could connect better with other people. I could be more alert to their emotions and what's driving them to adapt to what is in that situation, not what I think it should be. All of us always align with what we think it should be or what we think people want and looking for. This is why we're maybe not selling enough products or services, because we assume and speculate based upon what we perceive, what people are looking for. We have to adapt to what is. Use the power of marketing surveys, looking at audience segmentation analysis, things that you could truly hear from the horse's mouth what people are looking for. Now, I know I got a very short period of time. Another thing we could control is our attitude. It's happening for you, not to you. When we can see challenges and obstacles and everything not going right for you as an opportunity, you're not playing the victim anymore. You're not deflecting how you feel onto others. You're not using excuses. You're not the victim. You see it as happening for you. And when we can now look, we can control our emotions. how we respond to other people in situations, not react. If I'm angry, that's okay. That means I have something unresolved, but I don't have to react from it. I can pause, then respond, or take 10 minutes and come back, sleep on it before I send the email. Learn to respond versus react, and it's our action. Focused on the priorities that matter, not getting caught up in the busy work and using excuses that we were too busy to get to the more important things. That's just a form of procrastination. EQ flushes all that out to focus on what we can control and letting go of those same 5 things in other people. Now, I only got less than 30 seconds now. So with that being said, if we can tie that now in a consistent way over time, you'll see your level of confidence go up. It will vibrate through your words, which is only 7% of effective communication. It will vibrate through your tone, which represents 38% of effective communication, and through your body language, which represents 55% of communication. When that shows up through when you speak on industry stages, podcasts, when you post daily on social media where your audience is, when you're networking virtually or in person, wherever your audience is, this is what's going to enroll people into your business. And this is what's going to help bring joint alliance partners to think of you because they can trust you and they respect you to refer business. If you'd like some more information about how this can happen, I can't possibly fit all this into 10 minutes. Feel free to reach out to me. I've been doing this now for many years. I speak on leading industry stages around the world every week, in person and virtually. And I'd be happy to share some more information. And I'll put my contact information here in the chat box. So thank you very much, Gigi, for the opportunity to serve.
You're welcome, Chris. A very powerful talk. We truly appreciate you. Now, our next speaker is Lisa Reed, and she's the CEO of the International Speaker Network, and she trains you how to use public speaking as a soul-filling strategy to grow your business. And she's a self-proclaimed talk doula. She helps you get your talk ready to rock and create a soul-filling speaker strategy so you can get booked the rest of your career. Welcome, Lisa.
Oh, thank you. It's so exciting to be around all you speakers today. Yay. Everybody's doing so wonderful. I'm learning so much. Thank you. Every single person, I've learned something. I've been taking notes. And you know, one thing I know about speakers is they would like to be speaking more, right? Does anybody here not want to speak? No, we want to be speaking. We want to be getting clients. We want to be attracting more clients who are really aligned with our message. So that's my focus for today. And of course, as leaders, what better way to lead than speaking to a larger audience, scaling your business, making a bigger impact, and really living out your life's purpose and helping other people live out theirs. So a couple of the tips I want to share with you today. How do you develop your instant client generator? Unlock your speaking bookability. Hopefully you're going to get some ideas that you haven't thought of in a while. And uncover the treasure sitting in your own backyard. All right, so what's our instant client generator? Well, in my world, your instant client generator is your signature talk, AKA I say, get your talk ready to rock. And for me, what this means is you are absolutely in love with your message. You could give your talk in a box with a fox, in a house with a mouse, and all in a boat with a goat. You could fill in the next day if someone canceled. You're like, I'm there. I'm practiced. I'm good. I'm ready to go, which we have seen a lot of that today, right? But of course, you may have a different audience than usual. You may have a little talk in your mind. Oh, I haven't done that one in a while. I really want to do that. Also, you may want to use speaking as a way to generate clients. So there's some key components you're going to want to have for that. So what expertise could you share tomorrow? And go ahead and just put that in the chat. What could you share tomorrow? If someone said, oh my gosh, the speaker canceled, you happen to have a free spot on your calendar, you can jump right in. What was that signature talk that you would share? And we're going to go ahead and check I'm going to take a little peek here at what we put. Yes, Renee Rouse, who is going to be speaking soon, talking about sharing your voice. Love it. Your experience is your expertise. Comedy coaching. Yes, Sadia is a comedy coach. She helped me. I became a stand-up comedian this year. How exciting. Just one time. Do I stay or do I go? Love it. Behavior change, culture in the workplace. Wonderful. We've got some great topics here. Yep, keep doing them. So one of the things that's really important when you are a speaker is this next topic. When you unlock your speaking book ability, what that means to me is you need to be ready to say yes. Oftentimes people say they want to be a speaker, but they're not actually ready yet. So I want to cover some of those things that you want to do to be ready. First thing is, now it might seem like redundant, but get your talk ready to rock. What that means is, does your talk pass the grocery store test? If you're standing in line at the grocery store and someone says, oh, what do you do? And you say, oh, I'm a speaker. And they say, oh, what do you think they're going to ask? Oh, what do you speak about? I want you to be able to say that title right off the bat, just easily and effortlessly without having to think about it or look it up. That's what I mean by getting your talk ready to rock. And I also mean, because you're so in love with it, you can't wait to share it with the world, because you know it's going to affect change, you know it's going to help people, you know it's also going to help you attract your ideal clients. The other piece that I think is really important in getting ready to say yes, and this is what I work on with people in the Speakers Training Academy, is clarity on your ideal speaking avatar. Not every speaking engagement is for every speaker, right? We have a lot of different speakers here today, and it's all about leadership, but not every engagement is meant for you. Just like if you were single, just because someone's single doesn't mean they're a good fit for you. There's a lot of other reasons why you might want to decide if you're going to date that person or not. And so this could mean, do you speak virtually, in person? Are you a keynote speaker? Are you speaking to attract clients? Are you speaking as a thought leader? There's different lanes that you might be in. Are you a TEDx speaker? So really deciding, what's my speaking avatar? Do you want to travel? Yes or no? All those things combined, put your custom avatar together. And finally, you want to have, well, not finally, but there's lots of things to get ready to be ready, but this is really important. You do want to have a clear invitation to the next step. And so that could mean offering something for free. It's also known as a call to action, something like that. What's that next step? And we've seen some of those today. I've been watching, don't worry, I've been watching. Now, the other thing that we often forget about is there's often speaking treasure just right in our backyard. You might just trip over it. I often say you could sneeze and get a speaking engagement, but sometimes we just forget what's right there in front of us, or we haven't even considered that, or maybe it was an idea we had a long time ago, but we forgot. So an easy way to think of this, because there's not only the good news, bad news is there's so many speaking engagements. It's also the bad news, there's so many speaking engagements. So what you want to do is really start to narrow it down so that your mind can start to cut through the noise of Google and ChatGPT and all the opportunities out there. So you want to give yourself a focus. And how I think of that is really local, national, or international. It doesn't mean that they have to be in person. So this is another thing to consider after we've gone through the pandemic. So many speaking engagements are virtual now. So you could still have a local but virtual speaking engagement if you live in the middle of nowhere. That might work great for you. One of my clients, she's a life coach. She lives really far away from any big city. So for her, virtual speaking is going to be great. It could also be something literally in your backyard. It could be like chambers or business groups or local networking groups, local chapters of associations, things like that. If you want to move to national speaking, that means you speak in a different state. You could literally take, like, say an association has a chapter in your city. They probably have one in the city next to you, and then also other states. So you could literally turn one speaking engagement into 50 if they're in all states, or they have multiple chapters in the state. They might have regional or national conferences. And then international, then of course you're just skipping over the US lines. Maybe you speak in Canada or Europe or Australia or Africa, South America. Then all of a sudden you're an international speaker, and you could update your profile that way too. Maybe you want to lead retreats, things like that. So sometimes we don't really think about all those different ways. I like to think of, for me, I like to work in a certain kind of time zone. So then I target certain countries and areas due to that. So where can you start looking? Just even from what I said today, did something prompt in your mind? What prompted in your mind, like, oh, you know what? I did not ask about this place. I hadn't thought about that. I should probably go check this opportunity out. I haven't done a search on that lately. And go ahead and put that in the chat if you're like, oh, I'm going to put that on my to-do list. I'm going to start looking here, there, and everywhere. All right. Another place that you can find speaking engagements is at our International Speaker Network. So you can reach out to me if you want to. I'll put my contact information in the chat, but you can reach out to me if you want to network with other speakers. For any of you who are looking to get more engagements and you'd like to get booked more often, I've given over 600 talks, and you can find 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs at getspeakinggigsnow.com/tips. If you are watching the recording and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally want to be a speaker. How do I do that? I don't even know where to get started. I don't know how I should develop my expertise or even monetize my talks or figure out where I should speak or how to get the microphone in my hand, then this next offer is for you. And that is an invitation to our Speakers Training Academy. And you can apply here at getspeakinggigsnow.com/chat. This is for you if you want to fast track to the stage. You want to get your talk created. It's only in your head right now. You want to have that clear call to action, find stages easily, and get booked consistently. I'm going to stop the share, and hopefully we're getting a little bit more back on track with our agenda. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Dr. Gigi.
Thank you, Lisa. Very powerful. Now, our next speaker is Mojo McCarthy. He's a creative communicator, professional speaker, storyteller, leadership development consultant, mentor, podcaster, author, musician. He's also a graphic designer, branding and marketing Sherpa, and that's mojo.studio. Welcome, Mojo.
Wow, I don't know who that guy is, but he sounds pretty dang awesome. But thank you for that introduction. By the way, I just want to say how great it is to be here and hear all you share your amazing stories. I've been inspired. As you can see, I can't stop but keeping notes, and I'm trying to share them as fast as I can in the chat. It's amazing. Here, I'm going to ask all of you just for a second to stand up, shake your bodies around because we've been sitting down for a long time. Stand up, shake it off, get that energy moving, because there is an effect. If you sit too long, your body will stop listening. Your brain cannot absorb what your butt can't endure. So you got to get the energy moving, and that's what we're doing just now. So just keep that in mind. I think it's actually there's an effect that says at about 25 minutes your brain just can't absorb anymore unless you reset. So that's why you'll see Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and all those guys get to stand up and cheer and whoa and do all this stuff is to get the energy moving inside their bodies, which makes you receptive. And I'm so happy to see Coach Chelsea because we've had so many conversations, but I've never seen her in person. Anyway, thank you, Dr. Gigi, for having me. Okay, I'm going to set my timer here because my story could take days, and I promise I'll keep it to 10 minutes, and you can hold me to it. You can cut me off mid-sentence if you need to. All right. So I'm going to take all the principles that we just heard today, and I'm going to give you an example, and it's going to be in my own life. And so my signature talk is about to happen right here in 10 minutes, and it is the story of going from walking wounded to wounded warrior, and it is me. So when I was 11 years old, my mother got remarried, and she married a man who, before they got married, was quite a nice man, and then afterwards, not so much. He was playing a game to get her into the house, and as a result, turns out he was a truly narcissistic. He was never diagnosed as such, but all of the traits. So I was 11, and I was a very sensitive kid, very gregarious, outgoing kid, and he would intimidate and yell and say the most hurtful things, and caused me to cry a lot because I cried pretty easily. I was very sensitive until I stopped crying, and it wasn't that I chose not to cry; it's that something inside of me broke. I couldn't cry anymore. Just a good example, I kept a diary during those years because I had nobody to talk to about what was going on. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it, but I couldn't talk about it. So I put it in my diary. And one day I came home from an event, and my stepfather was there with my diary, and he'd broken the lock, and he'd read all the things that I wrote, and then he used it as a weapon against me to hurt me. And so I cried again, and that might have been one of the last times I cried at age maybe 12 or 13, but until I was 30. So that's how deeply the wounds were. He never hit me. Didn't matter. He abused me, right, as a narcissist and crushed my little childhood spirit. Then, after 3 years of hell, my mother divorced him. And so now we're on our own and started going to a church where I got involved in the youth group. And I was really, finding ways to heal and to grow through sports, through music, and through my relationship with God in church. And the music minister at my church was very outgoing, gregarious, enthusiastic person who I could identify with on many levels. And so he became my friend, my mentor, my guide, my coach. And then he became my abuser. He molested me, and I was not prepared for that. I didn't even see it coming. I couldn't even imagine. No one had talked about it. This was 1970s, and so it wasn't public. And so I became a victim of molestation from my music minister. And you can imagine the dynamics there, right? So the person I looked up to the most and trusted the most was the one who betrayed me. And I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say too. I just felt like, what's wrong with me? I thought something was wrong with me. And so I spent quite a few nights, as you can imagine, at the edge of my bed with my knees on the ground and my head in my pillow, crying out to God, saying, what is going on and why is this happening to me? Because I was the good kid. I was getting good grades. I was in sports. I was in music. I was doing all the things, right? I was trying to be as good of a kid as I could to please my parents and obey them and to please my God, who I believed in, and I believed He was love. And now suddenly I'm in an unbelievable situation that I can't even process. I had no tools. I had no preparation for this. And so in my pain, I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I cried, and I was always crying out to God, why me? Why me? Why me? Why, of all people? I mean, I wasn't bragging to God. I was like, but I'm the good guy. Why did I get picked out? And I didn't understand it. And the only thing that I ever heard audibly or could sense, the only answer I ever got was, I'm here. And I would say to God, I know you're here. I believe that, but what? That's not the question I'm asking. And I would ask all my questions, and I just try to get out of my system, and God would say, I'm here. And after a while, the energy started to dissipate, and I realized that that's the only answer I'm going to get. And turns out that's the only answer I really need. God is here. Didn't explain why it happened. It didn't explain why I got chosen or victimized or singled out or targeted or whatever you might say. And so my mother noticed a change in my behavior and very gently and wisely kept asking, are you okay? Is everything okay? Is there something wrong? Because you're just not yourself, Joe. She didn't know what was going on. In fact, we all thought that this guy was the greatest thing, for me. He was a role model. He was a father figure, and he was an abuser. And so finally, my mom made it safe for me to just tell her what was going on. And as soon as I did, we reported the incident and started moving on from there. But what didn't happen because of the times is I didn't get counseling. The person didn't get arrested, even though I was a minor. In fact, the guy got released from the church not because he abused me, which now was public. Well, it was public to the lead pastor, but because he was having an affair with a married man in the church. That's why he was asked to leave the church. So things are all messed up, all super messed up. And I'm the victim. At that moment, for those moments, I was the victim. I didn't ask for it. I didn't bring it upon myself, and I couldn't understand it. And so I moved on thinking that, it's going to be okay. God protects me. It's all good. And I put on the happy face, and I really dived into sports and music and church, which became the best possible places for me to heal, because you can imagine other choices I could have made to mask or to get rid of my pain. But those are great places, all healthy places. But I was under the false assumption that somehow I escaped unscathed, right? That because of my faith, then I wasn't really hurt. Somehow I was protected from the damage that had been done because I didn't understand it. I didn't get the counseling that I needed to understand it. And as it turns out, that of course isn't true. Choices have results, and the choices that were made without my permission caused deep wounding. And I didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about it with anybody. And the longer I kept it secret, the worse it got. It's like a big sliver in my heart. And the sliver, the longer it's there in your hand or in your heart, the more it festers and it becomes infected. And if I didn't pull the sliver out into the light, if I didn't get it healed, it was just going to keep me sick. And it was ruining relationships with authority figures, as you can imagine, especially men. It wasn't good for my employment, my career. And now that I grown up and got married and started to have kids, now it was becoming a problem within my family. And so as my family was imploding, it became very clear I got to get some help. And so I finally, 40 years approximately after my deep wounds, went to a counseling center and had a full-on immersive weekend. And the turning point for me was when we did this role play. And I did not want to do this. There was nothing in me that wanted to do this. And they said, we're going to go back and reenact the time when you were wounded the most. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's not why I came here, right? Forget it. I'm out. I want to run away. And I wasn't locked up. I could have run away, but I knew this is why I'm here. So the way it was set up is that we're going to reenact your abuse, but you're not going to be the child anymore. You're going to play a different role in this setting. And you can either play an adult that was there that didn't do for you what should have been done, and then you're going to do it, or you're going to play yourself. And Now it's your age with your knowledge and your understanding, and you're going to step into the role and do for you what wasn't done that could have been or should have been done for you. So I chose the latter. I decided I was going to play my adult self in the scene, and I had to tell everybody what to do, where to be, how to act, how to feel. And of course, that's bringing up all of that stuff that I had hidden for all these years out into the open. And everybody takes the role, and the abuse, the scene starts to reenact in front of me, right? But now I'm empowered. I step in, and this is all role play. I step in and I do what I wish had been done for me when I was 15. I kicked the ass of the abuser. I called the police. I gave myself a big hug. I got me into counseling. I mean, it did all the things. And I got to tell you, even though that was in my imagination and role play, that is the turning point of my life. The biggest turning point of I'm going to cry. Sorry. So still, still there. It's still there. But I am now no longer the culmination of my wounds. My wounds are now a roadmap that shows how far I've come. In fact, my scars are visible, and that's okay because that shows what what has been healed. I don't want to leave you with this illustration. I got a minute and 12 seconds, so I'm going to speed through this. So stick with me. Pay attention, please. If you haven't heard of the Japanese art of kintsugi, Kintsugi, I highly recommend it. It's this ancient Japanese art where pottery or something porcelain priceless gets shattered. They don't sweep up the pieces and throw them away. There's an artist whose job is to weld them back together, but when they weld it back together, they don't try to make the seams disappear. They weld it with gold or silver or platinum, where the seams, the welds, are super visible and beautiful. The seams become part of the pattern. And the philosophy of kintsugi is that when you put something back together after it's shattered, it has a pattern that only that piece could have. Because you could take two porcelain bowls or two statues, you drop them, they won't break the same. So when you put them back together, they weld it together to show the seams, which makes it incredibly unique. And just economics says the more unique something is, the more valuable it is, right? The more rare something is, the more valuable it is. And so the wounds of my heart that have been healed are visible to show how valuable I am, what I have overcome. The roadmap of the past says, oh, there goes my timer. The roadmap of the past says how I got here, but it does not determine where I go next until I let it. Thank you so much.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. Such a powerful talk on the wounded warrior, your journey from victim to victorious.
That's right.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Mojo. Now, our next speaker is Renee with an R. She's your inner voice coach. Welcome, Renee. You're muted.
Here we go. The girl with the voice has to unmute. Go figure. Thank you so much, Gigi, for this opportunity. And to each and every one of the speakers, just incredible. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and imagine not knowing if you would ever speak again. Imagine not knowing how you would communicate. Imagine not knowing that the last words you spoke may have very well been the very last words you would ever speak. Now open your eyes and just imagine the impact you get to make on the lives of others when you do. My name is Renee Reich, and in 2013, I lost my voice to a very painful illness. It affected me physically because of the multitude and magnitude and pain associated with those sores on my vocal cords. Emotionally, because I was so contagious then that I was no longer allowed to be with the public, my best friend, my family. And then mentally, because doctors couldn't help me and I had no idea how to help myself. It would be years later that I realized the physical loss of my voice had actually manifested the metaphoric loss of my voice in life. People pleasing, fear of judgment, limiting beliefs, low self-esteem, looking for outside validation for my own inner self-worth. I would later come to realize that validation was strictly only for parking. I didn't speak up until I no longer had a voice to speak with. The degree I had earned in psychology had paled in comparison to the degree I was earning and the lessons I was learning in life. So I want you to think about this. Where in your life have you silenced your own voice? Where have you not spoken up? Maybe it was when you were a young child in school and you were afraid to raise your hand for fear of saying the wrong answer when the teacher called on you, and that ridicule that you may have gotten from your fellow classmates. Maybe it was at work in a meeting where you didn't speak up because you're afraid of the judgment from your coworkers if you said something that they didn't feel was right. Maybe it was in a relationship where you swallowed your own words just to keep the peace. Maybe it was you just silencing your own voice for fear of judgment or rejection. I want you to think about this. When you lose your voice, you're losing a part of you. It's an instrument that you get to play every single day. But how are you using the instrument? You don't have to be a pianist or a flutist to use the instrument. This is something you already have. Are you speaking words of degradation to yourself, putting yourself down, that you're not enough? Or affirmation that you're powerful and you're strong, you're resilient, resourceful, and confident? I'm reminded of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. If you don't know that movie or remember it, please Google it. You'll be amazed. Each of the characters that Dorothy met on her way to Oz had within them the very things they were looking for. So I'll refresh your memory for a minute. She came across the first character, which was the Scarecrow, looking for a brain. And if you recall the story, he was the smartest one there. Then there was the Tin Man looking for a heart. He had such a big heart. He cried all the time that Dorothy had to oil him with the oiling can because he cried all the time and she didn't want him to rust. Then there was the Cowardly Lion, who actually wasn't so cowardly because he leaped in front of Dorothy and the other characters to protect them from the Wicked Witch of the West. And then there was Dorothy, looking for her way back home. She was told she needed to get these ruby slippers off the Wicked Witch and then go to Oz and click her heels 3 times and go home. But as I said, each of the characters had within them the very thing they were looking for. The brain, the heart, the courage. And Dorothy, it was always within her, as you each have within you. Those here with me in this room and those watching, every single one of you, you have that within you, the very thing you were seeking externally. Think about the words that you speak to yourself versus the words that you speak to your best friend. Like I said, most of the time, they're really limiting beliefs, and they're based upon these thoughts. The thoughts become things. You would never speak that way to a best friend because it wouldn't be your best friend. Speak those kind words to yourself with love, with empathy, with compassion. I'm going to give you probably the reason why you don't is based on your childhood when you were somewhere between 6 and 8 or 9 years old. Someone in authority, and we've heard some amazing speakers speaking about these certain things, but somebody said something to you, whether it was a parent, a teacher, a relative, somebody that you had that authority over you, that spoke to you and said something that you anchored into you held on to as your story. But you don't have to be an author of a book to edit a chapter, because every single day and every minute within those days, you have the opportunity to edit what you don't like. You can edit the words that you're saying to yourself. You can edit the people in your life that you don't like, and people that aren't serving you. You do spring cleaning. It just turned spring yesterday. Was the first day. You can clear the clutter anytime you choose and edit your story whenever you want. So I'm going to leave you with this. The journey back home to you and finding your voice starts the very moment you start trusting your voice and you start believing in yourself. Again, Dr. Gigi Sabat, thank you so much for allowing me to share my voice with each and every one of you watching and here with me today. I'm honored and grateful, and I am so blessed to have each of you in my life. I look forward to sharing my voice with you real soon. Thank you again.
Wow. You're welcome, Renee. Absolutely phenomenal. We truly appreciate you. Now, our next speaker is Dr. Shanta Haynes, and Dr. Shanta Haynes empowers women to confidently live life with peace and financial security. Now, through her Amazon best-selling books, coaching programs, and keynotes, she equips with biblically based resources. And from her experience and degrees in engineering, theology, and Christian counseling, she balances logic and faith. Known as the Performance Excellence Transition Coach and Biblical Money Management Expert, she simplifies complex problems and creates actionable and effective solutions with sustainable results. Now, as CEO and founder of Heart to Heart Truth Ministries and Heart to Heart Truth Foundation, her mission is to help you put feet to your faith so that you can walk victoriously. Welcome, Dr. Shanta Haynes.
Thank you, Gigi. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I really appreciate you guys. The stories that we have heard, especially as we talk about leadership, we have to recognize that everybody has a story. And when we are working with them or leading with them, that we have to consider all of that. So I'm going to talk about being crowned for impact, leading with guidance, grit, and grace, and definitely in that order. All right. I tell my story that I started off, I felt like I was flying in the air without an airplane at one point in life, because a lot of things have happened. Now, all of us have flown in an airplane. And if the turbulence happens, it feels like our hearts fall into our stomachs and we're trying to grip hold to the handrail and we're just not quite sure what's going on. Well, I've had that situation happen in my life, and we've heard some stories of people as well. But what we have to do is get in God's waiting room and find out what he has for us. So we have the crisis as well as our
Oh, there may have been a technical issue there. There we go.
Yeah, I kind of got lost there. So let me see if I can share again real quick.
All right.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Internet. I'm in a hotel. So in any event, what I would say is most of us, in some instances, have been flying the uncomfortable skies. When we do, and we're doing it from a leadership standpoint, we can hurt the same people that we can help. And so what I wanted to talk about really is to make sure that we adjust our crowns, and that means our mindset, as we continue to move forward. And when we do that, we're going to do it with guidance, grace, and grit. So let me jump into number one, which is guidance. We need the Holy Spirit-led guidance in that. When we talk about the fact that we are believers, we have something that is definitely supernatural, something definitely more than what other people have. And we have to recognize that there is an importance there for us. So we take advantage of the supernatural. We take advantage of being able to ask God to jump into our situations, and our productivity goes up. When we are infused with God in our leadership, I'm going to give you practical applications. We are going to pray. Yes, that's right. We pray about everything. We're praying about what the people are going through, how we can lead them, how we can continue to move them forward in life and help them develop. We're also going to make sure that we operate then from a place of rest. Why? Because if we are being guided by the Holy Spirit, we're asking for his wisdom, his knowledge, his understanding. We're asking to know and to do better, and productivity is definitely going to come. And we are not stressed or anxious about anything, but we are praying about everything. We're also going to continue to look at the affirmations, especially biblical affirmations. I have plenty of those. But if we know the promises of God, we can stand on those promises and move forward. That's what's important. Ultimately, we ask. We ask so that we can receive. We seek so that we can find. We knock, and the door is going to be open to us. And what happens with that? We end up having the superpower in our life, the confidence, as well as the strategies to navigate leading others as well as leading ourselves. We're no longer doormats. We don't have to be a doormat, but we end up being great servant leaders. That means that our spiritual intelligence then is heightened because we are asking God to infuse and to be a part of our business as we move forward. So you can take a screenshot of this one, scriptures to meditate on, because you do want to have them. I taught students in many instances how to make sure that they are infusing God in their business. If you're looking for vision, these are some of the scriptures you might want. Power as well as a reward. Whatever it is that you're needing, God is our secret weapon, and we want to make sure that as he impacts our business, we get an opportunity to truly impact others. I did have a client, and this is one of the things that you want to see happen. She identified me as the lighthouse for her. But notice what she says, I was guiding her with wisdom. Where was that wisdom coming from? It was coming from above. She then gained confidence as well as clarity to move forward in her business. Number 2, because I'm staying on time today. Number 2, grit. That means we got to put in some work, right? That is the leader's mindset. How you think is what is going to determine how you act and how you move. We level up head first. That's right, because it says in Romans, the 12th chapter, in the first verse, that we're not conformed to this world, but we are transformed by the renewing of our mind. We want full capacity. So the question then becomes, how do you describe yourself? Do you see yourself as a leader, or do you see yourself as an employee? Do you see yourself leading as a friend, or do you see yourself taking charge? And I'm going to submit to you, if you're going to be a great leader in today's day and age, and we've heard it earlier, you've got to be a servant leader, a transformational leader. What does that look like? You're passionate, you're inspirational, you're influential, you're a coach. That means that you're going to ask for actions to be taken, to take place, and you're going to have people actually take those challenges, and you're going to guide them. All right. So when we look at that, that means we have to reframe our thoughts. We've heard that one too. We want to make sure that we're willing to have the courageous conversations with others. We're willing to make those decisions, and those decisions are then going to be valuable decisions so that the actions that we take are going to lead to some great outcomes. What does that mean for you? When we adjust our crown, and notice I love crowns. When we adjust our crown, we recognize that you are the talent. You also have the passion. What is your mission? And making sure other people know what that mission is. And you have to see yourself as the leader. Again, you go head first. So just as I've also worked with some others, Jackie was one of my coaches that I coached. She identifies here that she evolved literally from one conversation because mindset is so important. You become excuseless and crystal clear on what it is that you're doing. And if you're helping others, they see that in your leadership. Number 3, grace. Oh, we need grace. That means it's how I see you, because I'm going to give you space to develop as a leader. When you're working with me, I'm trying to make sure that you get a chance to develop. I get to pour into you, but I also give grace to myself. That means I'm not going to be so hard on myself, and you're not going to be so hard on you either as you lead. So we've all heard it saying teamwork makes the dream work. And it really does. If I'm a great leader, that means, and I can find out if I am, when you get the best outcomes for both the people as well as the company, you're doing a great job. When others are following you, that means you have influence. That's what leadership ultimately is. When people don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care, that's one I stand by. That means that we're not being just transactional, but we're being transformative in what we do with other people. And then you have to recognize that you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. That it's not all about being solo, but it's all about making sure that you've got the right people around you. And of course, Jesus is our number one example. So self-awareness of your leadership is where you start. There's some things that you need to stop doing. There's some things that you need to slow down in doing. And there's some things that you're doing really great at that you need to keep up. So I'm going to give you 5 traits of a great servant leader so you can identify where you are on that continuum and figure out what you need to do differently. Relational intelligence. That means that you're encouraging participation. You're also motivating others to achieve. If you're doing a great job there, you can put a green light. Communication is also going to be important. Your messaging does matter. What you say to others matters. How are you coming across? Sometimes you have the right messaging, but it's the wrong timing. So you want to consider that as well. Then there's emotional intelligence. We talked about a little bit of that today. There's the care and concern for others. Do I have it? Do I also have concern for the company, the ministry, as well as the business? So if I'm going to be crowned for impact and making impact, these are some of the things I have to consider. So the last 2, we've got to have active listening. That means we've heard this also today. I'm not listening to respond, but I'm listening to comprehend. I'm listening to be able to follow up with the person to make sure they have everything that they need. Then strategic thinking is also something that is important for me to be a great leader. That means I have to be a visionary. I need to be willing to look ahead, to see what is coming down the pike, what obstacles I might need to overcome. But I also need to be adaptable as well. So ultimately, when I do all of that, that means that I am going to lead looking up. That's getting my guidance. I'm going to lead looking inward. That's the grit. I'm going to put feet to my faith. I'm going to take action. And then I lead looking outward. And I'm giving grace not only to those that I'm leading, but also giving grace to myself. When I do all of that, well, Rodney said the same thing. He's one of my coaches that I've worked with as well. He says that I challenge you. That's that grit part. But I also help and support you because I want to make sure that you are going to succeed in whatever you do. So with all of that in mind, it's your turn. You need to take action. Where do you need to change your leadership? How do you need to see others a little bit differently so that you are then seen as that great leader? And I will tell you this, I do have a Queenpreneur Accelerator program. I have the wonderful opportunity of helping queens reimagine, reinvent, and reframe to the next level. So for those that are in the entrepreneurial space as female entrepreneurs, I give you an opportunity to audition to be a part of that program. And you can go to my website, shantayhaynes.com/queen in order to do that. And so I am going to close it from that standpoint. And I said, I'm 11 minutes and 12 seconds. I went over, didn't plan on doing that, probably that Zoom. But Gigi, it truly has been an honor and a privilege of being here with you guys and with everyone here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shantay Haynes. Now, our next speaker is Sadia Caron. And Sadia Caron, she's a TEDx speaker, screenplay writer, actor, stand-up comedian, singer-songwriter, teacher, a creative leader, and that's SAGAFTRA. Welcome, Sadia.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Yes, I forgot that we are international. SAG-AFTRA is the National Actors Union here in the United States. So in my 10 minutes, I'm going to cover a lot of ground. I hope I don't speak too quickly. Thank you to all the previous speakers and to all the organizers. This has been absolutely amazing. I took some notes because I got hit pretty deep by some of the talks. I've had what many people would consider a dream life. I've dated a rock star, a Wall Streeter, an Olympian, 3 separate guys. I've had modeling jobs. I've been in TV shows, Parks and Rec, Hacks, Glee, movies like Jason Bourne, and I do stand-up comedy. In fact, I'll be doing stand-up comedy tonight. I have been at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club 20 times. I've performed in California, in Los Angeles, in San Diego, and also in New York. My most recent success is that I was paid by my union to go up to Northern Nevada and teach a comedy workshop. It was a 7-hour drive and about an 80-minute flight. And again, I'll be doing comedy tonight. There's a saying in the comedy world that tragedy plus time equals comedy. And I'm definitely proof of that. My trauma is that I also was sexually abused, but for me, it was my dad when I was very, very young. And that really changes things because we grew up in a Christian household and I was asked to pray, "Our Father who art in heaven." There is an Asian concept in Zen that the minute you name something, it instantly becomes not a million other things. I'm wearing a blue sweatshirt, so it's not pink or green or polka dotted or striped. For many people, the concept of father is a good thing and it helps them relate to God. But for me, it absolutely does not work that way. So this has caused me to go look for other religions to find a lot of answers. I've read the Quran, I fasted a few days for Ramadan, I've read the Gita, and the comedy helps me bring a different perspective to things. I'm not here to offend, just to ask people to think. For one example, the 10 Commandments of Moses are in the Bible, and Islam accepts both Jesus and Moses as prophets. It clearly says thou shalt not kill. But here in the United States, we're bombing people. Nobody really wants to obey that part because it's inconvenient. Not here to judge, just here to ask questions. So my TEDx talk is called Family Secrets: An Incest Survivor Speaks Out. And I feel like I'm the one nobody wants at the table. I don't fit anywhere. Mother's Day, no thank you. Father's Day, no thank you. Christmas, I don't go home. And so it's something that I don't particularly want to dump on people because it does kind of blow their mind. I've been told that my experience traumatizes people and they just have to listen to it. I had to live it. And so that's always a little bit awkward. But I do want to speak up because I bring all this stage experience and I got up on that stage and I delivered my TEDx talk. And it wasn't easy. I prepared for months and months and months, but I got it done. And I've been told that I'm helping people. So I know a couple people went over. I think my talk has been a few minutes, but I've said everything that I wanted to say. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here, and I will get on stage anywhere, anytime to either make you laugh or share my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadia. We truly appreciate you, and you are truly a warrior.
Thank you.
Welcome. Now, our next speaker is Todd. I've had the great honor of collaborating with Todd quite a bit here in the past few years, a beautiful soul. And Todd is on a mission to revolutionize company culture and leadership. And throughout his career, Todd has done countless keynotes and workshops at local, state, national, and international conferences. Todd is passionate about sharing his experience and knowledge in workplace culture, leadership, communication, team building, generations, and personal growth. He writes for several publications, including an international publication. He has written a complimentary ebook that is available at his firstnamelastname.com, and that's guide, right? Todd annually hosts Live to Lead, an experience featuring John Maxwell and other internationally known leadership speakers at sites across Wisconsin. His passion for leadership and culture earned him an independent speaker, coach, and trainer certification with the John C. Maxwell Leadership Certified Team. He is DISC and DEI, that's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, certified. Todd is a member of the National SHRM, that's Society for Human Resource Managers, as well as his local organization. He's also a member of both the Mosinee Chamber of Commerce, and that's in Wisconsin, for also the Wisconsin Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Todd.
You've heard the expression, that's a hard act to follow. Well, imagine following 20 acts. It's just been a great evening, and all you've done such a great job. Really appreciate it. So I was taking some notes too, but I did a little bit differently. I took one word from each speaker and jotted that down. So let me run through these real quick. Let's see if any of these resonate with you. It starts out with Steve, and Steve's still on. I love it. Good to see you, Steve. But it starts out with future, trust, belonging, sparked. Matter of fact, I have to talk about sparked because I was going to talk about a similar pie that Theodorus spoke about. Now I changed my speech, so I'm going to talk about something different, but still the same theme of put your oxygen mask on first. Anyway, to continue, gut, M&M, submit, communicate, respect, EQ, rock, kintsugi, words, impact, and then comedy from Sadie. I mean, what a magnificent night. But as I mentioned, I shifted on my presentation a little bit, and sometimes we have to leader shift. I know, Roger, you know leader shift. If you've read that book of John Maxwell, many of you have done as well. Let me start out with a quote. And this is one that's really resonated with me, and I'm certain it'll resonate with all of you. It's your choices, not your environment, that determine your trajectory. It's your choices, not your environment, that determine your trajectory. All of you made a choice to be on this call tonight, either as a speaker or listening through Facebook and other social media. You've made a great choice. And those are the same kind of choices we need to continue to make in our lives. We've got a divisive world out there. And it's up to each of us as leaders, as people of faith, to really overcome that divisiveness. And let's flip the world around. Let's flip the world back to the way we want it to be. And my theme is put your oxygen mask on first. And Shanta, when you were talking, that image came into my mind, talking about flying and airplanes and things. But we have to put our oxygen mask on first before we can help others, just like an emergency on an airplane. We have to put our oxygen mask on first to be able to help people change in who they are and what they are. So I want to share with you a little bit about the happiness advantage. And some of you may have heard of Shawn Achor, and it's Shawn, S-H-A-W-N. Last name is Achor, A-C-H-O-R. Shawn did a YouTube. Sadie, you mentioned you've done YouTube. I'm sorry, TEDx talk. And interesting little side note about Shawn Achor. He's walking up on stage. He was told he'd have 18 minutes to do this presentation. And I'm not going to take 18 minutes, Dr. Gigi, don't worry. But he was told he would have 18 minutes to do this. As he's walking up on stage, the stage manager says, Shawn, you have 12 minutes. And Shawn's like, wait a minute, you guys told me 18. He said, well, we had some changes. We decided we had to cut it back to 12. So he has to cut back an 18-minute TED Talk to a 12-minute TED Talk. Don't do it right now, please, but go to his TED Talk. It's called, I think, The Happiness Advantage, but it's Shawn Achor, and it will lift your spirits. But the whole gist of his talk is we need to be happy, and happiness is our choice. And again, it's your choices, not your environment, that determine your trajectory. So what are the 5 key things? What are the 5 key elements to your happiness advantage? As here in Wisconsin, we're looking to go into the weekend. I'm sure we are around the world, right? At some point, beginning or ending our weekend. But let's think about some of these things. First one is gratitude. Gratitude. How often do you share gratitude with others? Are you intentionally grateful? I do a leadership academy. It's a virtual training on leadership with my buddy Dennis Cooley. And each session, we put the people in their breakout rooms, and they have to share gratitudes from the previous day or the previous week. So how often do you do that, right? Every night when I go to bed, I write down 3 gratitudes from the day. And I rarely have to think hard about it because that's my mindset. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what makes me happy. I follow my core values of optimism, trust, honesty, enthusiasm, and teamwork, and think about what I'm grateful for. And I'll share that with others as well. How else do you share your gratitudes? Every morning when I get up, one of the things I do is I go on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I wish people a happy birthday. And a lot of those people I don't know. There are connections from connections, but I try to spread great gratitude in a lot of different ways. You can each do that as well. Tonight when you go to bed, or maybe when you get up in the morning. What are the 3 things you're grateful for, most grateful for? And if it involves a certain person, let that person know. Share with that person what your gratitudes are. The second one is journal. It's a great way to kind of get things off your mind, get them down on paper, maybe helps you go to sleep that night whatever the case might be. I journal my gratitudes every day, and every day I try to come up with different ones. But write down what's on your mind. And by clearing your mind of some of the junk sometimes, that can bring happiness into us. And it helps us think about what our day, our week, our month was like. So the second one is journal. The third one is exercise. And we've talked about nutrition. We've talked about health here tonight. I try to exercise 5 times a week. I've been tracking it since November of 23. And I'm really proud to say that I've really enhanced my exercise. And that's helped so many other parts of my health life, right? And I'm not out there, like pumping iron with the big dogs or running marathons. I do 30 minutes a day on a stationary bike. The other days I do 15 minutes and lift some weights and things just to keep my body toned, keep active. Plus, going to the gym is a great way to network and socialize and share some gratitudes with people. Hey, great to see you, right? All those different parts. So all these things, gratitude, journaling, exercises, all fit together. The fourth one is meditate. And when I first thought of meditation, I thought of, sitting with your legs crossed and with your fingers like this. And people do that. And I'm not trying to make light of that, but it wasn't for me. But then I started meeting more people. I've got a couple accountability groups I'm on. We talked about meditation in a different way. Part of my meditation is I start every morning. I've got an hour block, and about 45 minutes of that is faith meditation. I read, I think, I write about my faith. And that's what I do. And maybe that isn't for you, but figure out a way to meditate. No. Meditate. Do some deep thinking. Take a breath, which is hard to do when you're trying to get everything in 10 minutes. But take a breath and think deeply about what's important to you. What do you value? Is it your faith? Is it your family? Is it some other things? Whatever the case might be, we all things that we value and meditate. The last one is one of my most favorites, number 5, and that's commit intentional acts of kindness. Not random acts of kindness. Commit intentional acts of kindness. Have you held the door for somebody recently? Well, I have. I do that all the time. And people look at me like, what's wrong with this guy? He's holding the door open for me. We're missing that, right? With all this divisiveness in our lives and in the way we communicate sometimes, not us, but others through social media. Hold the door for somebody. Commit an intentional act of kindness. It doesn't take any effort. It doesn't hurt me to hold that door open or smile at somebody and say, hey, how you doing? Right? Everybody I walk by during the course of the day, I try to at least say hi to. In the grocery store, same thing, right? I went grocery shopping this morning, and I try to do those things and commit those intentional acts of kindness. If you've heard the story about doubling a penny every day, would you rather have that or $1 million? Well, I'd rather double a penny every day for a month. And that's what we can do if we share an act of kindness and encourage somebody else to share an act of kindness. By the end of the month, we can hit over 8 billion people. Do the math. Check me on it, right? Do the math on it. So when you're thinking about happiness and being happy, and we all need to be more happy, think about those 5 things. Show gratitude, exercise, meditate, journal, and commit intentional acts of kindness. Those are the things that can make a difference. And those are the same concepts and ideas I take into the workplace when I work with manufacturing companies. And we talk about caring. And there's people in those meetings, those workshops, that have tears in their eyes because we're talking about trust and how to trust themselves and others. That's not supposed to happen in the workplace. Well, it should, and it better, because we need to show that caring in the workplace as well as in our personal lives. So as Dr. Gigi said, I'm on a mission to revolutionize company culture and leadership. Check me out on LinkedIn. Check me out on Facebook. Love to have a conversation with you. And Dr. Gigi and everybody, thanks so much. This has been a great night. And I'm looking forward to I don't know if I'm going to have enough room to journal tonight and write down all my gratitude. So thanks so much, everybody.
And thank you, Todd. We appreciate you. And yes, lots of notes here, lots of notes. Now, we are almost towards the end here. We have 2 more speakers. We will hear from BJ Sam. We'll also hear from Renee. Closing remarks from myself, and then a prayer from Dr. Shanta Haynes. And so now our next speaker is BJ Sam. BJ Sam is a lecturer, leadership coach, speaker, music, A&R executive, celebrity life coach, Hollywood Films music composer. Also, BJ Sam loves Jesus. Welcome, BJ.
Thank you so much, Gigi. It's a pleasure meeting all of you. I've read so much tonight. I've learned so much from every one of you. Okay, tonight I would like to talk about how to become an exceptional leader. Okay? You see, we all lead. You know, in every field of endeavors, there are key players. And I will use the word stars. Who is a star, first of all? A star or a key player is someone who shines brighter than others, than the other colleagues. Many people play in every team, football team, but they are always key players. What makes them exceptional? Okay, I want us to realize that we are all born to do certain things so perfect that it's very difficult to find people who can do it as we. Okay, so I'll be talking about, there's something unique in you that the word is either waiting to hear, longing for, or waiting to see. Look to yourself. If you're wondering, you think you are not a star, you are not a leader. If you look deep down, you realize you have something in you that either the word is waiting to see, longing to hear, or longing for. Okay? Once you discover it and polish it and showcase it to the world, that's what will make you a leader. You're a leader for a certain purpose. There's something that you're special in. Once you discover that thing, you become a star. Like now, we are gathering here today because someone converged all of us and we all obeyed. It's not every invitation that I will obey. It's not every invitation that everyone here will obey. That you were able to compel all of us and we gathered, that means you are a star as well. Okay? So that others have been doing something that you're doing right now doesn't mean that you can go beyond that level. You're learning, we are learning, we all have mentors. Even as leaders, we have mentors. I remember as a leader, you can lead without being led. Okay? There's a vision. Remember that a leader is someone who sees a particular future and will paint it properly for the followers and compel them to follow along and guide others towards that. So we must always endeavor as leaders to go an extra mile. We must see beyond what our followers are saying. Because if you don't have a bright future, if you can see further, no one will follow you. So I want to talk about stars tonight. As I remembered, he said, stars are in all fields. We have star players or key players in every field. And I want to come to the Bible. Even in the Bible talks about stars. The Bible told us that when Jesus was born, a star was seen. The wise men saw something that compelled them. They wouldn't have left where they were. They were magicians. They left their countries. They came to Bethlehem. They said something that we have seen the star from the east. We have come to worship. So there's a difference between star and gift. There are two things that we all have, stars and gift. A gift will bring you before kings, as the Bible said. But what will happen to a star? If you have a star, if you're a star, the king will come to you. That's the difference. Okay? You say you are very talented, you are a good person, you have talent, good. This king will ask you to come and sing for him, ask you to come and speak for him. But when you are a star, a leader, what happened? The king comes to you. That's what happened even in the Bible. We saw that Queen Sheba heard of Solomon's wisdom. He did what? What did she do? What did she do? She went back to see. I've heard. I'm here to see. Okay, so those are the difference between a star and talent. If you combine these two things together, you will go very far, okay? And how do you discover your talent? How do you discover? Because working on your talent, to a particular point, when you polish it to a particular point, we compel the word to come to you. If you don't get to that particular point where the word are coming to you, president are coming to you, that means you've not worked enough. Remember, even if you remember Michael Jackson, there was a time he was singing and people were inviting him for the event. There was a time came where his president was seeking to see him. We want to see you. Not him begging to come before president, not him begging. The president were begging to come. So a star is a celebrity, and every star has fans, followers, over whom they have so much influence, either positively or negatively. And today, the most famous stars today are social media influencers. Why? Remember what happened recently before the election? We saw how Taylor Swift, she shook the world because everyone was afraid. Even Trump was afraid when he saw that Taylor Swift went to perform for the Democrat. He was angry because he knows the kind of fans, the followers this person comments. And once a star, a leader, their leaders, they speak, their followers follows, either negatively or positively. So we must be mindful of this, because influencers today, they don't see themselves as stars, as leaders. They only see themselves as influencers. So we need to realize that they also need to realize that they are leading people. And as I said, even if we go through the Bible, we saw that even angels, they were referred to as stars. And we saw in the book of Daniel, when the sons of God sang, there was joy. So that's what happened. That's what entered into the heart of Lucifer. So I'm a star, son of the firmament. So that's what enters his heart. And most of the time, as a leader, if we are not very conscious of ourselves, we might become very proud. And if you become so proud, it could lead to your downfall. As I said, your gift and talent will bring you before kings, but your talent will make kings and presidents to come to you. I talked about, see the man who's diligent in his work, he shall stand before king. Isaiah 60 verse 3 says, Gentiles shall come to thy light, king to the brightness of thy rising. So the talent will bring you, when you're diligent with your talent, it will bring you before kings. But your star will compel the world to come to you. Everyone the world has ever celebrated, look at them. Anyone the world has ever celebrated, they have two things. They have talent and they have stars. They are stars and they are talent. Those two things, those are the things that makes you, it's not your color, it has nothing to do with your color. It has nothing to do where your breath, your region. Once you have a good talent, you have a talent. Not everyone has good talent. Your talent, if you are a tailor, whatever you're doing, just polish it well. Once you polish it well, it will attract kings and presidents to you. So thank you so much. I believe I don't think I have much time. I would love to speak more, but I don't think I have much time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I believe I've shared one or two things with you guys. So the scripture there is, I talked about Isaiah, yes, you got that. Matthew 2 verse 2, for we have seen a star in the east and I come to worship him. Star. Then Proverbs 22 verse 29 says, see a man diligent in his business, he shall stand before king. Then Isaiah 60 verse 3, Gentiles shall come to thy light and king to the brightness of thy rising. All right, thank you.
Thank you, BJ Sam. And BJ and I, we had an amazing time doing a podcast yesterday. I highly recommend it. That's on the Walk With Me podcast, my podcast, which you can find on all major podcast platforms. Highly recommended. It was very insightful, BJ. And thank you so much for this inspirational talk today. We truly
You're
appreciate
welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, sir. Now, our next speaker is Renee with a D. And now that's Renee. And she has a passion for business growth and over 13 years of dedicated experience. She's a seasoned business freedom mentor who recently transplanted her expertise from bustling streets of New York to the sunny landscapes of Florida in 2018. And Renee and I both live in my hometown here, small town. Renee, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Gigi, and I'm so excited to be being here tonight. And I would like to share my screen if possible, if that's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And here we go. And hopefully we get that. Okay, so I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to get my screen here. I'm going to move this over and I will be right there. There we go. So tonight what I'm going to talk about is that we have so many great speakers about everything that we shared tonight. And we talked about leadership, we talked about health, we talked about mindset, communication, what it is to be a caretaker, and our message. And tonight I'm going to talk about time. And we have 24 hours in a day. But why is it that there are those that can move forward in their day, and then we have those that are constantly trying to catch up? And as busy entrepreneurs and parents, in a day's time, we can say 10 times or more, I don't have enough time. And that adds up to about 70 times a week that we feel that time is our enemy. So tonight I'm going.
Renee, I don't want to, but I believe that some folks are saying they cannot see your screen. If that's your intention to share the screen, just a heads up. They cannot see.
Oh, okay. One moment. Let me just get back. Let me just stop sharing because I made a mistake. So stop sharing. My apology, guys. Technical difficulties, as they always say. Share, and here we go.
Give Renee a thumbs up if you can see her screen.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Okay, good. Yes.
Yes? Okay. So getting back to what I was saying, I'm going to be talking about flow and focus and master your time and maximize your energy. And tonight, I'm just trying to get to the next page. And to understand what it is and what you're saying when it comes to your time, you need to ask yourself, if you had a magic wand and you instantly can have more time, what would you choose? And I'm asking you to write this down, because then you're going to understand what it is that's taking up a lot of your time. And hopefully by the time we get done tonight, you'll get a solution to what it is that you need to do. And this basically is an exercise that I do with my clients. And I also teach this in courses and classes and boot camps. And in order for you to understand what that is, you first have to understand who you are. And this is assessing your time and your energy flow. Now, when you're looking at these pictures, I really would love for you to write down, or you could put it into the chat, what category do you fall into? And if you are the burner, are you the one that's always running around for everyone else, doing everything for everyone? They're always coming to you, but you're never able to recharge to get done what it is that you need to do. Or do you find that you're the natural, where you start projects, but then you find that maybe you shouldn't have started it, and it kind of gets pushed aside, and then it just doesn't seem to get done? Or do you happen to be that productive person that understands how many meetings to go to, how many social events to go to, how many networking events that they need to attend, what it is that they know what to do in their day, but still have time for family? And the best way that you can look at your time is your day, as you wake up to when you go to bed. And what I'm going to share with you is called the energy and time awareness. So when you're waking up in the morning, what is your energy level on a schedule from 1 to 10, excluding 5? The reason why we exclude 5 is just for the fact that you go nowhere. It's like sitting on a fence. You also want to know what your focus level is. What number is that? And that also you want to do is for your notes is, are you productive? Or what was your mood? And you want to do that for the morning, for your midday, your afternoon, to the evening, and until you call it the end of the day. And this is a 3-day exercise that you can do for yourself. And the way that you're going to be able to do this is then understand what your clock is, right? We all have a time clock inside of us. And what you want to understand is your high energy level, your medium energy level, but when is your low energy level? So when you're looking at your 3 days, from say maybe you start your day 6 o'clock in the morning to say 11 o'clock at night, for those times, when is it that it's your highest peak? And on those are the days that you want to be productive. That's the time when you're going to get a lot of things done. For example, morning, that's my low energy. Not a morning person, but my high peak is the afternoon going into the evening as it goes down into low. So what are high and low and medium peaks mean? Well, it really basically means when you are very high energy is when you want to go down and do things that are deep work, creative work, but most of all, decision making. When you're finding that you have medium energy, that's your routines, that's when you do meetings, your plans. But when it's your low energy, that's where you may want to do your admin work, maybe take a break, or even maybe take some self-care for yourself. So when you evaluate on that, when it's high, medium, or low, you then want to look at the tasks of that period and when is the best time to do the work that you need to do for yourself. And with that leads into our balancing our habits and our change. And now we're going to help us to lead into how do we do our daily schedule on that. And this is called your ideal blueprint. And when you're looking at your ideal blueprint, it's going to design your day based on your energy flow. Again, morning to midday to afternoon and your evening. And what are those planned activities? What is that energy level and what adjustments need to be made? The reason why this is a 3-day exercise is because you're now going to be able to see the difference from, say, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, where you ask yourself, why was I able to do it on Monday? But why can't I do it today? So when you fall into your routines, it's to help you to have less stress, but to understand what the power of a structured plan is. And that's where you know what you're doing the next project. It's understanding how to stay focused. It's also stopping the distractions, but most of all, creating consistency, which helps you with your long-term goals. A structured plan isn't about doing more. It's about doing what truly matters of what needs to be done in that day. So when you are going into your balancing routine, and that's how do you balance your work? How do you balance your life? How do you balance your family? Is understanding your blueprint, but most of all, understanding who you are, how you work, and what is best for you, because you are the vehicle of your business and your life. Anything else you see when it comes with time management is the vehicle, but you're the driver. So how do you want to get from point A to point B safely on that? And that comes into your habits. What are your habits? What are you doing constantly that's not making any change in your day? And how are you spending your time? And this is the part where we want to analyze your habits. So you can write down, what is a habit that you're doing? Is it draining you? Are you finding that it's neutral, or is it giving you a boost of energy? And is there anything to replace with that habit? And what are the expected benefits? So when you understand what your habits are during the day, you will then have a better idea of how it is that you work to make yourself productive or to be productive and to be able to move forward. But what is the biggest change that has to take place, right? We looked in that first picture about who you are and how do you become that productive person? Well, the change is understanding how to say no. We say yes so many times, and then we're sorry that we did it. But when you're looking at the power of what is draining you, and most of all, setting the boundaries. And that's a lot where it comes to working at home and when it comes with our families. Our families think because we work at home that we could do anything. That, oh, mom will take care of it. Oh, mom could go pick us up. But you're working. And when you set those boundaries is telling your family or your friends what your day is, when they can contact you, unless it's an emergency, and when you're available. And when you set those boundaries in place, you will find that you're not going to be wasting time on other people of where they're taking your energy from you. So understand what it is to say no. And if someone asks something of you and you're not sure, just say, you know what, let me check my schedule. Can I get back to you by the end of the week? If you wake up the next day and it's a, yeah, I should do it, and you wake up the next day, yeah, I should do it, then do it. Say yes. But if you're waking up saying, you know what, I can't do this, I can't fit any more on my plate. So by the time you do speak to that person at the end of the week, they will accept your decision. Why? Because you didn't tell them no, but you didn't tell them yes either. You told them, can I get back to you at the end of the week? And if you practice that exercise, you will find that you won't be so overwhelmed and so stressed out because everybody thinks that you could take care of everything, because you can take care of everything. And that's why we are entrepreneurs and we are business owners. If you'd like to learn more, a little bit about flow and focus, on what your strategies are, here is a barcode where you can schedule a time that we could speak. We could see what your day looks like and put your plan of action in place. And I also have in the chat where I will just right now put this information in there. And Dr. Gigi, thank you for giving me the opportunity of speaking about having more time in your day so we could be successful entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Renee. Very powerful.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Let me stop sharing.
Awesome. Wow. We heard from amazing speakers from all over the world today. And some of you are in my hometown. I know, Renee, you're in my hometown. Dr. Shanta Haynes, you're in my hometown. And some of you also in the room are also in my hometown. Grateful for each and every one of you, but not just that. I'm also grateful for our sponsors, and I'm grateful for those who attended today, and for those of you who joined us on the social media platform, and also for those of you who will be listening in, because we will be repurposing it on the podcasts on all major podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts and YouTube for our visual learners. Grateful for each and every one of you. And I want to remind you today that leadership, it's your ability to take yourself out of it and serve. It's not about us, it's about the people that we serve. And we spoke about the word of the year. As I mentioned, my word of the year is serve. And I asked each and every one of you, what is your word of the year? And so if you're not aware, I want you to sit with that for a moment and think about it. What is your word of the year? And I want to encourage you to not give up. If you're facing a challenge today, or maybe you're just in a difficult time, don't give up. Keep the faith. Now, thank you all. Now we will have a closing prayer from Dr. Shanta Haynes. Take it away.
This has been an amazing time. And as we come before the Lord, Father, we thank you for the time that we have spent together. We thank you for each and every business that is represented here, each and every person that you have called into service, Lord, for the crisis as well as the credentials that we have endured and the things that we have been able to accomplish. We thank you for that. We thank you for the leadership that you've allowed us to have. We thank you for Gigi and all those who have made this possible for others to be able to hear our words. But Lord, we ask that you give us the right vision for this time, that you show us the path in which you would have for us to go, that you would give us the platform to stand on so that we might be able to speak what you have given us and we might be able to serve in the capacity that you have called. We thank you in advance, Father, for all of the business that is coming in. We thank you for where our feet are going to tread. We thank you for the platforms. We thank you for the purposes. We thank you for the people that we get an opportunity to come into contact with. God, for all of that, we are more than grateful. This is your day. This is our life, but we're giving it to you. And for that, we are more than grateful. And so we thank you in advance for what you're going to do from this point forward. Let it be known. Let us recognize that you have been the one that has been instrumental in everything that we have touched. And Lord, as you prepare the way, we ask for your wisdom, your knowledge, your understanding. We ask to go according to the way that you would have for us, that we would all be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer, supplication with thanksgiving, we would make our requests known to you and you would give us your peace. So we thank you in advance for every stage, for every opportunity, for every business, for every person. And we're going to bless you always. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much,
Amen.
Dr. Shanta Haynes. And thank you all. God bless you and be safe.